Hmm. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Monday Night America here on the NDB Media Network. Today is June 19th, 2023. It is Juneteenth. We'll get to that in just a quick moment. You know who I am. So head on over to ndbmedia.net down there, and you can find out the latest things that man over there has been arranging. I'd like to claim today's guest booking, and that's about it. Because Michael introduces to Bobby. So I'm going to claim that one, just tonight's booking. But real excited. Dan is my co host tonight, Michael. I hope he's doing real well. And we're going to get to all the stuff. But man, let's just cut to it. You know who he is, the man, the myth, the one who is the effervescent, the loquacious, the one who is Bobby Nash. Good evening, young man. How are you?
Oh, I am so wonderful. That was an awesome intro. Although I'm sitting here looking up loquacious. No, uh,
I
no.
like
Thanks so much for having me back. It's been a while.
it
Oh,
has been a
yeah.
bit. We've been a bit busy, and I will blame Michael right there for that. He has been doing a phenomenal job. He
You,
has been booking so many guests. It's just
you guys have
absolutely
had some
amazing.
had some really cool guests lately. Yes.
Uh, yeah, and that means a lot from you, Bobby, and I thank you for that. It does mean a great deal to us. I do want to let everyone know that we are live on Twitter. So if you are watching us on Twitter, please let us know. We'd like to know how that is going. I'm going to see if I can still a look over on my page to see what it looks like.
Mhm.
And yeah, there we. Oh my goodness, yet another place. So we are live on Twitter. Woohoo! That's dangerous. We'll see. But all kidding aside, we actually already have some people joining us. Elizabeth Cooper, thank you for joining us, Elizabeth. Yes, indeed, Michael has been most busy. So we owe Michael everything. He knows everything that's going on, and he's the heartbeat of everything right now. Bobby, why don't you give us your websites? I know I didn't introduce you directly, but Twitter, it's at Bobby Nash.
Yep.
Instagram at Bobby Nash Writes.
Yep.
What's the webpage, young man?
BobbyNash.com is my website.
Brr.
There's a link to everything there. So yeah, it's easy to find me. I also have a site, ben-books.com, which is my indie press. So yeah, but that's me, and I'm all over the socials, and so yeah, I'm excited. This Twitter thing, I just retweeted it so people can see it live on Twitter.
That is awesome,
Ain't
Bobby, and
technology
I thank you for
grand?
that. You said it was bobbynash.com, correct?
Yes,
Okay, so I believe I have it. There it is.
that's it.
Boom! There it is, folks. And again, everyone, let us know who you are, where you hail from. Bobby Nat, I've lost track. Indirectly, Bobby has been on with us as a surprise guest
Hmm.
and as a full guest. What I mean is, he's joined us for their interviews and stuff. Bobby, seriously, what are we? Five, six times,
I want
maybe?
to say six. I want to say this is probably six. Yeah.
Wow.
So
Yes,
yeah,
I'm eternally grateful because
yeah.
you're a busy man.
It was so funny. I get a message from Roger going, "So when are you coming back on the show?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Whenever you invite me."
Yeah, that
It's
was
like,
fun. that one happened fast, and it kind of happened because Michael was booking all these people, and he was getting all these, and I'm like, "Hey, so Michael, when is Bobby returning?" And Michael was like, and I'm paraphrasing. He can obviously correct me, but he said, "Well, when we invite him
Yeah.
back, and I
Well,
guess
I
I'll have
had
to invite him."
yeah. Well, because the day before I talked to you, I had talked to Michael, and and I had kind of told him the same thing. It's like, well, it's whenever you guys invite me.
So he was a bit coy. He
Yeah.
knew, and he said that he was going to contact you. And like a fool, I said, "I'll help out Michael on this one."
That's why he's a producer.
Oh my goodness, a producer extraordinaire. It's absolutely
That's
incredible. Hey
that's
Bobby,
that.
so what are you drinking tonight, young man? I have several drinks with me. I have my donut shop flavor coffee from Smart and Final. I have a Coke soda, and I'm going with the Clamato again. So
Uh,
keeping it kind of light.
I have Publix spring water in my snow glass.
Ooh,
that's
yes.
that's it. I am for health reasons trying to lay off sweets and sodas. So I
I
I do
wanted to,
I do suffer a bit from diabetes, and so we're trying really hard to get that back under control.
I'm glad you're
Yeah,
doing that, Bobby.
yeah.
I really am excited about that.
I do miss my sodas, but
I finally did get the warning. I think it was in 2021 when I told quite a few people that I felt guilty. It was in 2020, 2020. I'd meet with friends, family, I would talk to people, and I would be in conversation with them, and they would tell me, "Oh, I can't have that. I can't have that. I can't have that. I can't have that." And I would just stay quiet. I couldn't associate.
yeah,
And Michael, I did tell you that before I got sick, right?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, it was fun. And then of course I got the diverticulitis in 2021, changed my life. And even then, Bobby, it's not even close. I see firsthand diabetes and what it
mm,
is. It's painful, it's horrible. I don't know how you do it. I have said if I came down with it, that would be the last thing I'd probably hear because I can't do the needles, and it's not a
well, I
cry
mean,
for
I'm not.
help.
I take a pill. You know, well, I take one
Oh,
shot a week. I do one shot a week, but that's it. It's not bad. I'm trying to make it so it doesn't get worse. So yeah,
that's where we were with my family member, and it just got out of hand, and it just yeah. And now the person is fully diabetic, and yeah, it's bad. Where
mm,
they get the 3 pricks a day,
oh
and
yeah,
then they get the other one, the longer lasting one. So yeah,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
pretty bad.
It's yeah, but I've been I drink a lot of sodas daily, and I cutting those out has been hard. But I'm down to one a day.
Oh
Um,
wow, Bobby, that is
and
awesome.
so my next goal is to start skipping days. So it's a gradual thing, you know, but we're getting there. So,
Yes. Folks, I'm going to be going back to this, and I meant to ask you while we were off screen, Bobby, and I apologize that I did not. But your dad, how's
mm,
everything? How's your dad? I know you
nice.
spend time with him, and I love reading those
Yeah,
posts.
he's
As you
doing well.
know, I'm not on Facebook as much anymore,
Hmm. Yeah, no, he's doing
but
well.
I do.
We get out and we travel as much as we can. Have a good time. It's fun. We get out and ride. Actually, that book that's on the screen came out today,
That's why I went to it.
and yes.
Yep.
So but no, we get out, we travel, we have a good time, and yeah, it's nice.
That one is absolutely awesome. And and going back, I'm glad, Bobby. I meant to ask you off air, but I'm glad. I didn't want to throw any beans out there, but
Yeah.
I'm glad things are going well, and we'll get to that in a bit. Michael, you haven't said anything yet, and I think you're doing the Japanese movie version of yourself today.
That's why I haven't said anything yet.
There it is. Okay, but that's a lot closer.
What's that
Yeah,
picnic he's on that's keeping him occupied?
Oh yeah, it is funny, Bobby, because we hear him, and then that eternal like second and a half, and then we see his mouth move. Oh, it's hilarious. And Michael is genuinely having some big time problems with the internet. It's unfortunate. Didn't they redo your internet, pal?
yeah, they redid it, but it's. I think there's some other issues now too. So
Oh, you mean
the house is wired for only 100, and I've got 1,000 now, so it's not going through the cables. So
mm, Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, over in
Technology
the
is a wonderful thing when it
yeah.
works. When it works.
Yeah, I'm fortunate. I think I've mentioned to people that with me, oh, there it is. Look, I'm having trouble on my screen. Check that out.
Hmm.
I went from one mouse to a lot of blinky ones. So let me see if I can get away from that.
Yeah, in the
Uh,
evenings, mine tends to sometimes glitch and crap out a little. Always, almost always when I'm podcasting. Or
well, your connection is solid right now. Thank you.
Mhm.
I did want to forgive me. I actually had things that I wanted to get to, and I apologize, Bobby. One of our friends, one of our absolutely beautiful soul friends, uh, she's in her final week. Mercedes de la Cruz, you know who she is. She is doing her live painting. It's going to be still. This is the last week she's in on it. Check it out. It's in our Twitter feed as well. But you can find Mercedes de la Cruz on Instagram. Michael, do you know her Instagram account offhand? Is it?
Yeah, I'll post it up. It's
Yeah,
on
just
the
go ahead and
other.
post it up a little bit later. But I just want to get that one out there. We do have guests that who knows, Bobby might join us next Sunday. But actually, that's when he goes out with his dad. But who knows? We have Ryan Adams and Christy Burke returning. It's next Sunday, right, Michael?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, and it's going to be at 11 a.m. Pacific time, so you might want to check that out. So, Soul Scream
Yes,
Antholozine.
yes, it is.
Was that, homie?
It is a. I didn't publish this. I just wrote a story that's in it, but
Yeah.
it is a new anthology slash magazine that deals. It's features a lot of horror stories and suspense and fantasy, that kind, paranormal um, kind of stuff. And there's also interviews and whatnot in it. And the story that I have in there is actually a reprint of an old story I wrote, but I
Mhm.
went and tweaked it. It was a story called Crimson Moon, and it's about a vampire character. And so I did a little tweak and a rewrite, and because it was rather old, and I tweaked it and rewrote it, and it appears here. But I'm in the process right now of writing a second adventure with the two main characters for a future volume. So this will come out. I don't know how often it'll come out, but it's going to be an ongoing thing. So
So the original, you said short story. Would it be a
yeah.
novella or just a short story?
Now this was just a short story. Yeah, it's like
Okay.
about 10,000 words. So just a short story.
So it's the same one. You just, as you said, just changed. You
I I,
updated
tw-
it, right?
I updated it. I tweaked it. I fixed things that I looked at and
Oh,
went, oh
okay,
yeah,
George
yeah,
Lucas. All right.
um, and just I'd like to think I'm a better writer now than I was way back when I wrote this.
Oh,
So I kind of gave it a tweak, gave it a polish, and the editor liked it and put it in there. And then I'm writing a second story with the two characters that are the two main characters in my story. It's a character named Charity and Samson, and so I'm writing a second adventure with them that will be in the third volume.
oh,
So yeah, each volume kind of has a theme to it. So um, yeah, the theme for the third one is nightmares, I think, or something like that. And so I wrote something that kind of fit that
only because
theme.
I don't know any better, Bobby. So then, is this the debut
Yes,
anthology? Okay,
yes.
so there's going to be
Well,
a second one,
right. Well,
and then
they did one previously, like a standalone,
okay,
and so this is the first of this. Yeah, this new run. So
okay. So would we so when you're mentioning the third one, would we call this brand new as in one, or
yeah,
would this
this will
be
be one. This will be one.
okay? So they're going to skip one, then you're going to be
Right. Well, they'll
in
do
that
a
one.
second one. I just won't
Well,
have a
I
story in it. Yeah,
apologize.
yeah.
I
And then
I
I'll have a story
I,
in the third one. So yeah, it's
I was considering you
ah.
skip one.
Oh yeah, no, no.
That's what I
I
meant.
will
Yeah.
not be in this because too when I talked to them and offered them a second piece, I didn't have time in my schedule to write something to hit the deadline for the second one. So
Tenfold.
I offered them a story for the third one. So
Oh, I like it. Well,
yeah.
folks, there it is. It's available today. You can check it
Hmm.
out at bobbynash.com, which is really good stuff.
Yep.
I do want to
It's
give a
available
shout
in
out.
Yeah, it is available in paperback and ebook. I haven't seen the interiors yet, but because like I said, the publisher just announced it today that it was on sale. So, but it was fun. I had a good time doing it. There's some wonderful authors in there. Some I know, some I don't, but the ones I know are all fantastic. So yeah, it should be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to reading it and see what all happens in everybody's stories. Sometimes anthologies are fun. You get to play with certain themes, or you write things that are maybe different than what I normally do, because I do a lot of crime fiction. But
Yes.
every once in a while, I can do an anthology that's either a horror, or sci-fi, or specific characters. Like I wrote something for Kolchak the Night Stalker, and I wrote a
Yes.
Zorro.
Yes.
Yeah. I just did and this was my publisher, because I knew it was coming on here too. The publisher has given me permission to mention this, although I can't say the title.
All right.
I'm I wrote a essay about Star Trek the original series for an upcoming nonfiction book. So that will be out sometime later this year.
Wow.
Yeah,
So when that debuts, hopefully we'll have a chance to speak to you on that.
absolutely.
And we thank them for allowing you to make that announcement right now.
Yeah.
That's a
I
wonderful
told the
tease.
I was talking to the publisher after they went through edits and all. And I was talking to the publisher, and I says, "Look, I'm going to be on this show, and I can guarantee you we're going to talk about Star Trek at some point because that's just us."
Yes.
And so I was like, "Can I mention this?" And he says, "Sure." So so without I can't really tell the title, but it's essays from various writers and other people about Star Trek the original series and its impact on the person writing the story. And so how
Oh, wow.
so I talk about things, how it impacted me as a kid and discovering it and all that, up through being able to like write some of these fan film scripts I've written. How it's kind of so it was fun. So it was cool. I enjoyed that. So and
I'm
yeah,
glad.
and there's a couple more of the fan films in the pipeline too. So
Oh, excellent.
yeah.
Yes. We did get a little bit of love from Randy Landers this evening,
Hmm.
so who knows? Maybe he'll make a guest appearance.
Yeah. I
Maybe
did
he'll say hi.
I there's one I wrote for Starship Webster
Oh,
um
yes.
that has been filmed. I've seen it. I think they're still doing just the tweaks and whatnot. So it should be released very soon. It's been filmed. I've seen it. And then I wrote one for Starship Demos, which they haven't filmed yet. But so I did a couple of those. Those are always fun. Um, when I have like room in my schedule, I can go. Excuse me, I can do one because they are fun. I have a blast doing them.
It amazes me only because we've had the opportunity to speak as much as we have over the years now, and I cherish these moments because it's just a wonderful conversation. And folks, I'm leaving it on here right now because you need to go here. The website itself, all of the different series he has, and he'll correct me if I'm wrong, but you can look for him under novels and novellas. He has the ebooks, the anthologies.
Hmm.
He's done graphics, comic books, and the Snow series.
Yeah,
That's your big one, right?
that's probably the one that gets the most notice of mine, directly,
Yes.
like that I created.
Oh
Um,
my God, we're still on there.
yeah, well,
Oh
that's for
wow.
tonight's. Yeah, I was pre-promoting tonight's episode. So,
And that's one of our
um,
older images. Yes.
well, yeah, well, that's what I had handy.
I thank you, sir. No.
And but yeah, so Snow is probably the big one that I do that I created. The other one that I get known for a lot is Domino Lady, which is an old pulp character I write a lot, but I did not create her.
Okay.
So but yeah, but I try to keep the websites up to date.
Oh yeah, you do.
You see there on the left side, I do have a newsletter people can sign up for. That third box down. I also have that top box on the left. I have a store you can buy autographed books. If you want autographed paperbacks, you
Oh,
can buy those
yes.
directly. So, and then almost everything's on Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, etc. Yeah. So,
Oh, that's the one I saw. Yes.
yes, that was my first one. I've actually got to write Kolchak twice. I don't have it within arm's reach, but I wrote a story for the Kolchak the Night Stalker 50th anniversary book, because Kolchak turns 50 this year.
Wow.
And I wrote this one that's on the screen now. This is a modern version of Kolchak. He's still Kolchak, but it's set in the present day.
Yeah.
So instead of him, he does have a cell phone and things like. He doesn't know how to use them, but he has them.
Yeah.
And this particular story that's on the screen now is a sequel to a comic they did where Kolchak met the Phoenix. The Phoenix was an old TV show from the 80s as well. That it didn't last very long. I think it's like 6 or 8 episodes. And starred Judson Scott, who was in Wrath of Khan and other movies. But he plays an alien in this. And so there was a comic where the two of them meet. And the story that's in here, this is a novella. The novella picks up after that. And I co-wrote it with Paul Kupperberg, who wrote the comic. And so it's Kolchak and Bennu, the Phoenix, trying to uncover this organization that's killing off certain people for certain reasons. So that was fun. So that was a lot of fun. And then I did the one for the 50th anniversary. That one's more in the continuity. That's the continuity of the novels and the TV show and the movies they did in the 70s.
Is that on here?
That's not on that page yet. No, I haven't.
Okay.
Yeah. You can see it on the regular part of the website, but yeah. But it's yeah. If you should be able to scroll down some, and if
Aw.
nothing else, see it on the side.
Oh, I hear you. Okay, I'll probably need a
So
little bit of help on that.
yeah. See,
Michael, I'm
oh,
glad
right
you're
there it is,
back.
below the Dante. See the you can see it on the side there.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, um, yeah. So
Oh, that's
I'm
awesome
yeah
imagery going
yeah.
back to then. Yes.
So that's the paperback. My story is only in the hardcover. So if you scroll down a little, you can see the hardcover. That's some of the comic pages that are in it. What
Yeah.
I wrote was a short story that appears in the one with the blue cover, that deluxe. Yeah, that one. I wrote a story that's in that book, and it takes place during Vietnam. Carl Kolchak, before he went to work for the newspaper, he was a war correspondent in Vietnam. And so I wrote a story in here called The Devil Level, where he uh, gets into some trouble while he's reporting. He's on a bus with a bunch of soldiers, and the road gets shelled, and the bus goes off the side of the road, and then weird stuff happens because it's a Kolchak story.
Yes.
So it was fun. So I spent a lot of time researching Vietnamese folklore and things like that to work in some existing folklore of Kolchak running across like some of the local monsters and demons.
Bobby, on a tangent while you take that drink. I I knew a tiny bit. I went to school with in my classmates. I had Vietnamese classmates in high school. But obviously over the last few years I learned quite a bit of cryptids and folklore
Mm.
and stuff. Oh my god. The Vietnamese
Yeah,
culture when it comes to this, huh?
yeah. There's a lot
There's
of
a lot.
because I do get hired to do a lot of stuff with in that realm with monsters, and like I'm doing the Hunter Houston series for Falstaff, and that's all about with fighting monsters. And then I'm doing the Dante series, which is a horror western,
Oh yeah.
where
Uh-huh.
what if Deadwood was populated not only with people but with monsters. And so that's fun. So I spend a lot of time researching and referencing, and I'm a writer too, so I just make shit up sometimes.
Yeah.
So
I believe that.
um you know there is something to be said about doing it that way from time to time too. But this was an absolute joy to work on Kolchak. That was kind of a dream come true gig, because it's one of those, sometimes we grow up on characters,
Yes.
and So you're like, oh my God, I got to write this character. You know, same thing as like when I got to write Zorro. It's like I grew up watching Zorro. That was
Yeah.
awesome. Or I wrote a Lone Ranger. Same thing. It's like, oh, I grew up with these guys. Or doing the Star Trek essay I was telling you about earlier. It
Yes.
brought back a lot of memories of those things. And so yeah, so sometimes it's fun to play in those sandboxes that you grew up with and seeing how every pl- it's just fun. It's just fun to scratch that creative itch because I think most of us who go into the creative storytelling field probably started out telling stories about the characters we liked. Like none of us probably started out creating our own characters. When your imagination first kicked in, you were either using characters you had read or seen on TV. As a kid, I used to go out and play. After I'd get home from school and have my snacks, and mom would usher me outside. I would watch Star Trek while I was eating my snacks right after school. And
Yeah.
so when I went outside, I played Star Trek. It was that's kind of where the some of that imagination starts. And then so I think for a lot of us who when we get to write these characters that meant so much to us as a kid, it's a this is a little special joy that I just yeah, it makes me smile. I'm so happy with doing it.
And I would imagine that when you've written these words and then you see the performance and you hear your words, you're like,
Hmm.
wow, wow.
Oh,
That
absolutely.
that's a
Yeah.
tingle that you just cannot replicate, man.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's that like because I've written some of the fan films, and so
Yes.
seeing dialogue that I wrote, that yes, that sparks some great joy. I've also done some audio books, audio dramas,
Mhm.
same kind of thing. Hearing the performance is really cool. But then from the book side, I don't hear it, but I get that feedback when people tell me something meant something to them or they got something out of something I wrote. And yeah, it's really cool because it's such a solitary job. I sit here alone in a room writing. You hope people are going to read it and enjoy it, but you don't know.
Yeah.
And it's not like doing a play where you get instant feedback. You do it well, you get an applause. We don't, it's a little different than that. I don't get the instant feedback, and so sometimes it's like when the feedback comes, it surprises you because you're not expecting it. So
It is tough, the life that you have. It is because
well,
give me a quick timeline from your agent offer to acceptance, working,
mm.
editing. What is that?
Well, if we're starting with agent, I'm at 51 years because I don't have one.
I'm sorry. Fair enough. That's fair. Okay.
I can't get one. I have tried. I have.
I find that hard to believe, Bobby, with
I
your work.
have. I have almost 170 published stories of various size, shapes, and whatnot. I every time I reach out to an agent, they're you're not. I've had agents tell me that I'm not sellable. So, which just
What
means they don't know who to sell me to.
what morons?
Well, but they only make money when they sell stuff. So they have to take on clients that they absolutely know they have someone ready for.
It's just a shame that they don't see the talent here, though.
Well, it is what it is. And now, granted, I stopped looking a long time ago, so I
Yeah.
haven't tried it in a while. But it's different depending on the size of the publisher you're working for. Doing stuff for a smaller publisher, the window between I finish it or they ask me to work on it and
Hmm.
it comes out is can be as much as a few months to a year. Um,
Yeah.
Most cases, as you start getting up to publishers that are published continuously, it's a year is not uncommon. A year to a year and a half.
Yeah.
But sometimes with indie publishing, because just money and time, and most people doing that have other jobs as well, and I have stuff I've written that's been sitting for 5, 6, 10 years at a publisher waiting on them to put it out. So it can
Wow.
happen, yeah. But most cases, it's with the smaller presses and the indie publishers. It's within months of doing it. But then and it depends on the size of it too. Short stories are short story collections go pretty quick. I write a novel. It takes me a while to write a novel. So, and I juggle projects. I'm always working on 4 or 5 things at any one particular time. So bouncing back and forth between them, that kind of stuff, and because this is my full time job, this is what I do,
Yeah.
and so it. I joke a lot of times with people that writing is learning is juggling because I spend a lot of my time juggling projects because okay, I know these have to be due by this date. Hey, can you do this rush project? And I'm like, well, if I do it, that pays a bill. Okay, let me,
Yeah.
and it's like, so it's like you're doing, you know, juggling things over here and rearranging and so stuff like that. It's not a hard job. At the end of the day, I'm not, you know, I'm not charging up a mountain. I'm not curing any diseases. I'm not saving any lives. I'm just sitting here alone listening to music, going, "Ooh, wouldn't it be cool if I blow something up here?" That so it's a fun job. I love what I do. I mean, I work hard at it. It does take long hours, and
Yeah.
I do a lot of promotion and getting out and doing conventions and book signings and that kind of stuff. So it's not that it's not work. It is work, but at the end of the day, I'm just telling funny stories. So yeah. So
You're
it's
telling
not
funny,
difficult. Yeah.
and that's
Um,
fair. And I get that, but you do have a skill that other people
yeah.
do
Well, I
not.
mean, and
Look,
like anything else, I mean, skill is great, and but there's also you can't survive in the business on skill alone. Though I don't remember exactly what made this click for me, but years ago, it clicked for me that if I wanted this to be my career, I needed to start treating it like a job. And by that, I mean, when I started writing, it was a hobby. That meant I wrote when I wanted to, I wrote when I felt like it, I wrote what I wanted to. Now that it's my job, I may be in the mood to write book X, but book R is due this week.
mm,
So we work on book R. Even though that's not what I'm in the mood to write, it's got to get done. And I have to meet those deadlines. And so that's again where the juggling and the planning comes in. These are the things that have to get done. And so if I wanted this to be my career, I had to, like any other job, you go to your job, you sit down, you put in your time, and you clock in, clock out. I have to do that with this, and it's excuse me, and that means if you want to take a day off, you schedule a day off. You don't just wake up and go, "Do I feel like working today?" Because if that was how it did, I'd never get anything done because I never feel like working.
yeah,
You know, because once it becomes a job, it's like any other job. You start looking for ways to do anything else but the job
yeah,
because we're just hardwired that way, or I am at least not do as little as possible.
yeah.
So
I agree. Yes,
yeah,
a lot of us
so
are hardwired that way.
yeah. So the hardest thing for me, the biggest challenge of my day, is sitting my butt in this uncomfortable chair here I'm sitting in and work. Once I get started, I'm fine, but getting me sit down and working, and I don't sit still very well. As you can tell now, I'm fidgeting doing this.
Yeah,
I don't sit still well, so I have to, once I get down, then I'm okay. But yeah,
yeah.
so it's all discipline, and that helps a lot.
I am learning that the hard way as I am transitioning. I get that, and
Hmm.
I do, and I've been doing what I do for 36 years, and over COVID, for me, did it where I had to. These are the hours. This is
Hmm.
what I'm going to do. And if I'm going to schedule something in advance, just like you said, I don't know if you know, I was nodding. I was like,
Hmm.
yep, yep.
Well,
It's discipline.
yeah, well, even doing this show, I mean, when the show has to start. You can't just automatically start the show at 10 o'clock one night because you didn't feel like doing it at 9. The show kind of has to go when the show goes, and
Yeah,
it becomes a discipline. If you want to do a podcast, or if you want to do a radio show, or make a movie, or write a book, you've got to put in the work. I mean, they don't just magically appear. You have to put in the time and the effort. And now, that said, I love what I do.
yeah.
So sitting here for 10 hours writing, I don't mind it because I love it.
Wow.
But it's you have to have that discipline, because there are a lot of days I'm like, you know what, I don't feel like working today. And I'm like, and then that little voice in the back of my head's going like, well, if you don't work today, you're going to blow your deadline, and then they may never hire you again.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm going to the office. you
yeah,
know. So, but I mean, there are days we take days off. You know, that's going to happen from time to time. We all need that. What is that? A mental health day.
yep.
It's just like, you know what? I just can't today. Or I take every Sunday night off. Um, you know, that's sit and binge TV night. So, yeah, so you do all that so you're not burning yourself out. And you just have to schedule and plan. And, I still do things. I went to the movies yesterday with a friend. I scheduled around it. You know, I did a little extra work today, you know, because I was going to be gone yesterday. So, yeah, we went and saw the 30th anniversary screening of Batman Mask of the Phantasm yesterday, a buddy of mine.
I
Yeah,
remember that one.
yes. I've never seen it in a theater. And so there was a small theater in Atlanta was playing it. And so a buddy of mine invited me. We went to the screening, and it was awesome. I've seen the movie, but I had never seen it in a theater. And that was quite entertaining.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I growing up, we didn't. My parents weren't moviegoers, so a lot of my favorite movies I've never seen in the theater. And so when the opportunity comes up with these screenings, where they're showing like Raiders of the Lost Ark or Jaws or things like that, I try to go if I can, because I had never seen them until much later on the big screen.
Wow, Bobby, I know we've talked about this tangentially, and I didn't know that. I was fortunate. I went to the theater. I had a chaperone, my older sisters. They're 7 years older, and then my brother's 8, and my other sister's 9. I chaperoned. And I remember one time, it was in early 1980. I was sitting in front of the van, and I won't use their names, but I said, okay, so what are we going to watch tonight? We're watching Star Trek. Well, no, we've already seen that. Wait, I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. You guys aren't watching the movie. I'm
Yeah,
watching the movie.
yeah.
We're seeing Star Trek. Let me
Well,
tell you, $40 million. I
yeah.
was probably 1% of that gross.
Yeah, I was very fortunate. I had cousins who took me to see this. We saw to see Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi in the
Oh
theater.
yeah,
So I got to see those,
yes,
and I did see Star Wars as a kid at the drive-in.
yeah, me
That's
too. Yeah.
the first movie. It was the first time I'd ever been to the movies. They had a. It was we made. I remember we made a day of it. There was a big like a garage sale or yard sale kind of thing at the drive-in during the day,
Oh yeah.
and we went walking through that. I got to buy comics. It was awesome. And then it was me and my parents, and we went out, and then we had a nice lunch or dinner or whatever. Came back, and they were doing a double feature of the Jungle Book and Star Wars, and I had never seen either. And so that was my first
Wow.
movie going experience as a child, was The Jungle Book and Star Wars, and I was blown away.
Yeah.
And so yeah, but I had my parents did not care a thing for it, so they had no intentions of going to the sequels. But I had cousins that let me tag along, thankfully, and so I got to see those on the big screen. Because most of my favorites, like The first Star Trek movie I saw in the theater was 5. The first Indiana Jones I saw was 3. The first,
Same year, by the way,
yeah.
1989.
Well,
Yep.
that was when I graduated high school. I could start taking myself, you know.
Yeah. Wow.
And so yeah, so like the first Alien movie I saw was 3
I'm
in the theater. Like
sorry.
I'd seen them on TV,
I
but
am
in the
sorry.
theater,
Yes.
you know, the first James Bond movie I saw in the theater was GoldenEye. The first Die
That was
Hard
sweet.
2. Yeah,
Yeah.
Die Hard 2 was the first Die Hard movie I saw in the theater.
Oh,
Lethal Weapon 3 was the first Lethal in the theater. So yeah, so a lot of those movies that I love, some of them I've never seen. Now some I've made up for because Wrath of Khan gets played quite often.
actually does. Yeah.
And Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jaws. You know, I got to finally see Jaws on the big screen several years back, and so I'm making up for it when I can. But yeah, it's so and it's experience because you know almost becomes a different movie larger. You pick up details. Like I had never noticed the no smoking signs on the bridge of the Enterprise until I saw Wrath of Khan in the theater.
Oh, yeah.
Because on the TV they're like that big, you know?
Yeah. Hmm.
And but just little side things that you just don't notice until you watch it on the big screen. It's like, ooh.
Did
So
you see The Hunt for Red October in 1990? Yeah, you did, right?
I've seen it. I've seen it on TV. I have not seen it in the theater.
Oh, Bobby, I've talked about this in
Yeah.
other programs, and I apologize. What there and there's a purpose for this question, and we'll get to it in a moment. But there are moments, and I've talked about it in Star Trek. There are moments when it feels epic. It feels
Mm,
huge when you're watching it on the screen. And for The Hunt for Red October, it was one of those rare moments. And you know the scene. Ramius just gets shot and they're outside the missile bay, and then he says, "Oh, wait, Ryan, you know, be careful what you shoot at. Some things don't react too well to bullets." He's like, "Yeah, right, okay." And then he's like right there on the corner, and the camera pulls back. Okay. And all you see are missile tubes all the way down. And I was in the theater, and Bobby, I did this. I remember being in the theater like, oh my God. Because it's on the massive screen. It's like how
mm,
are you going to miss?
yeah,
And that was one of the first times that I ever got an epic feel in a movie. In
yeah.
the Star Wars movies, when Jar Jar Binks, there's an explosion.
Who? I'm sorry.
Jar Jar Binks, yeah. Very, there's an explosion and he's hurled and he lands atop the tank. And he's like, "Oh!" And they just pull back and you
Mm,
see the entire battle. That's when I got that funny feeling. It's like it
yeah.
felt huge.
There's a sense of grandeur because as
Yes.
even though you're watching the same scenes on your TV, some of that grandeur sometimes gets, especially if something's filmed for IMAX, like that opening scene of The Dark Knight where they're robbing the bank and they're
Oh my
sliding
goodness,
across
yes.
from building to building. That looks cool as all get out on TV, but watching it on an IMAX screen was
Yeah.
just whew, like it kicked in some agoraphobia for me. You know, we're up in the, I think that's right, agoraphobia is the fear of heights, whatever it is. It kicked in some kind of
Fair
phobia for
enough.
me because we're way up in the air.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, those kind of things. There's a grandeur in some of these things. Seeing some of them, you know, I am a huge Jaws fan. I've seen Jaws more times than I can count, but seeing it on the big screen for the first time, it was a new experience. As terrifying as that shark was when it comes up out of the water on TV, and I have a fairly large TV, seeing it, you know, massive on the big screen is a
Yeah.
whole other level of just scaring the crap out of me.
Uh it scared the crap out of everyone,
Yeah.
Bobby. Michael, how's your internet? You doing good? Or are you still
No,
in Asian mode?
I'm in Asian mode.
No, actually, you're okay. You're actually in Latin mode now. You're just a bit behind.
Yeah, there you go.
It's
Well,
all right, gentlemen. I can get away with it.
before we go, because I do have to go because I do
I
have
hear
another
you.
appointment. However, I have a shout out for Bobby
Woohoo.
from Michael Bednar. Says hi. Sorry, he would love to be here, but he's in the middle of filming right now, so
I
he,
saw some
Oh,
photos
can't.
today.
He can't join us. So
Yeah,
he
I
did
saw.
give us a like. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw some photos that they posted today, and oh, it looks good.
Yeah, it
The
does.
sets, the costume, everything looks good. I'm very excited for the Farragut Forward stuff. I mean, I love that. I love that crew. Having been fortunate enough to write them once, and getting to know them, they're so much. They're such cool characters. So
Yeah.
I'm really excited to see what happens next. And yeah, I also saw he did some. He was at the was it Monster Bat where they were doing the kit bashing,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and
He
he
won something,
made
didn't he?
yeah, because he made like some eagles from Space 1999 that
yeah,
just look
Yeah.
gorgeous. And so yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, I was in his imperial throne room. Michael. How many kits does he have? Is it?
oh, I don't.
It's
Yeah,
over 50,
yeah,
easy. That might even be an insult.
but he's so
He
good. I
probably
mean,
has
he
over
does
100
them. He
kits.
builds them so well.
Oh
And
yes.
plus, I know he does other things too. Like I know he was doing some like uh, remote control airplanes, and I know he
Yeah,
was building some of those. And yeah, but he's very talented at it. He's very good at it.
Yes.
But yeah, but no, I'm so excited for Farragut Ford and seeing that that they're moving forward because
It looks
the
good.
and but well and getting to know them and the passion comes through. This is not something they're not certainly not get they're not getting rich. Quite the opposite. They spend a lot of money on this stuff, but they're having a ball. The passion comes through, and you just see it. And if you talk to any of them, John or Michael or even Michael Day, talk to any of them about what they're doing, and that passion kind of comes through.
Yeah.
And because that's how we met was doing a convention. I sat across from Michael Day and John. We were was it Con Carolinas? I
yeah,
want to say,
Carolinas. Yeah,
and I was across the aisle from them, and they had. I think at that time you guys only had like what a
one or
couple of
two. I think
shorts.
two and some short. I think we had one short out.
Yeah, one short, and I think there was an animated. But anyways, by
Yeah.
the time it was over, I had heard them on loop for 3 days.
Oh. Yeah.
And so when it was over, but like we're all packing up, and I go over and I like sidle up to Michael, and I'm like, I think I have an idea for a story. And that's kind of how my writing a Star Trek fan film happened. Was Michael's like, well, great, write it up and send it to me, you know, and yeah, so that was a lot of fun because
Yeah.
I did not know if I could do it.
Oh,
I had
dude,
never
your
done.
story was
Yeah,
wonderful.
but I had never written any kind of script
Oh yeah.
for that type for to be acted before.
Yeah.
I had never done it, and so it was a great opportunity to can I do it, and it gave me a reason to try it because I had other work, so I couldn't just write a script just for the heck of it. This gave me an excuse to slot it into the schedule
Oh,
and try my
gotcha.
hand at it,
Yeah.
and it was equal parts fun and terrifying. And
Yeah, Star Trek's a
but
big deal, baby.
and just the seeing how you know are they going to play it the way are they going to get what I'm trying to say and we did change a few things. There were other things. There was a lot of back and forth between me and John. There was a lot of back and forth between me and Michael. Because there's a thing that happens in the first episode that I wrote that was originally not there. Where we were at another convention, and Michael goes, "Hey, how would you like to?" This is going to be a spoiler, kid, so plug your ears for about 5 seconds if you don't want to know. He goes, "How would you like to kill me?" And that's how he ends up dying in that episode.
Yeah.
So, but
Wow.
yes, but doing that was a lot of fun because it was like, can I do this? Am I going to fall on my face? Will it be any good? Are they going to take a look at this and go, man, you're awful? These are the thoughts that run through your head anytime you turn anything in. Is this going to be the one where they realize I don't know what I'm doing? And so I had great fun doing those.
One of these days, Bobby, I'm going to have the nerve to post "Today Hasn't Happened," my
Ah,
two-part script that was
nice.
turned down. I have it. It's in this. Very few people know of this. This
Hmm.
is a script that I wrote. It was for the next generation, and it
Oh,
was
back
turned
when they
down
were
though.
accepting, yeah.
Yeah,
That was the first time I attempted one. I started
yeah.
one, and I could not make it work. And so
Actually, I
I never sent it. So I didn't get rejected. I
oh
just never sent it. But I had an idea, and I wasn't there as a creator yet. I was still in high school. I hadn't quite I hadn't quite done it enough to understand how stories work, or more importantly, how characters work.
oh yeah.
And
Okay,
so
that's tough.
everything, yeah, and because everything that was in that thing that I attempted then, looking back on it later, was very cliche ridden. There was nothing original or really fascinating there. And I'm sure, had I submitted it, it would have been rejected, no problem. But we learn by doing that stuff. You do it, and you screw something up, or you do something
Oh yeah.
poorly, or you do it poorly, but you learn from that and go, oh, okay, I realize now what I did wrong. For me, with storytelling, there was this moment, and again, I don't remember what precipitated it, but it was this moment where it's not the plot. The plot is important, but the characters are more important. And
Yeah.
so I started shifting my focus to characters first, and then the character can make or break a bad story. Like
Hmm.
think of watching TV. I think we'll stick with Star Trek. Think of Star Trek. We love those characters, Kirk, Spock, Bones, et cetera, et cetera. We love them. We come back every week because we love these characters. And think of the worst episode of Star Trek. And there's some duds in there.
Oh yeah.
You didn't give up on the show because of those duds. Yeah, that was a bad story, but you know what? Kirk was still awesome. Spock was still awesome. You know, we'll come
Yeah.
back and do it again. And so focusing on character kind of became that for me. And it was my buddy Derek Ferguson who said something that will I will never forget. He said that story is when plot and character meet. And that really was like a light bulb moment for me. That plot and characters are great, but until you put them together, you don't have the whole.
Yeah.
Because your character will inform your story.
Hmm.
You can take the exact same plot and drop different characters into that same plot, and you'll get different stories. Because if you stay true to the characters, how Kirk deals with a problem is different than how Jean-Luc Picard deals with a problem,
Oh yeah.
is different than how Benjamin Sisko deals with a problem.
Yeah.
So, but you can give them the same problem, and you'll get three different outcomes because they approached it differently.
Hey, there may be a story there, Bobby. There may be a story.
Yeah. So, because if you think about it, because I mean, if you think about the one I always use as an example is like, okay, aliens take over the Enterprise in TOS. The crew gets captured. Kirk seduces someone, or he outsmarts someone to do something so they can take the ship back. You know, Picard's Enterprise gets taken over. Picard gets kidnapped. They try to get him back. Someone helps him break out. Usually it's one person figures something out, and uh, aliens beam on the Defiant. Cisco tackles them before they fully materialize. these
Yeah.
are these are different actions for different people. Um, yeah. So, but those character things inform. Cisco's short temper takes the story in one direction, whereas Picard's even keel diplomacy would take it in another. And I put Kirk kind of in the middle of those. He's got a little of the best of both of those guys. And so yeah, so knowing the stuff about the characters really I think has elevated what I do, because it's more about that it's helped inform the stories, and I'm not making things happen just because I want them to happen. It's sometimes to my own frustration. Things happen in stories sometimes where, I had plans and the characters go, no. Really, one of my book series. I have a villain, and the villain is in the first one. The villain shows up in the third one, and then he's supposed to show up again in the sixth one. And in the sixth one, the villain is going to get their comeuppance. I kill the villain in the third book because he just was like, no, this is where this should happen.
Yeah.
Turned out it made the book better because it turned out he wasn't the real villain. The real villain was a much more interesting character who had not been a main character up to that point.
Yeah.
And so it made the story better, but trusting my characters got me there. If I'd have said, no, he has to go to the end, the story wouldn't have taken some of those twists that it did, that really that audiences kind of gravitated toward, if that makes any sense.
It does. A lot that you're telling me, I hear echoes of it from Michael Pillar, obviously, the 3rd season. And he wrote the policy, and I received the letter, and I just dawned on me. I wish I had that cover letter from Paramount Pictures where it explained the rules. And he basically, in one paragraph, said, and adds to what you just said, he said, look, the story is about our characters, what happens to them, and how they grow from it. I'm like,
Right.
oh, you just killed 89% of action adventure stories.
Yeah, right. The story is not the Enterprise is infected by a virus. That is not that's your plot. Your story is how do our characters deal with this? How does it impact our characters?
Yes.
And as the central character, the captains, especially in the early, the first four at least, the captains being the main focus, it's how does that impact them? How does Spock's having his brain stolen impact Kirk?
Yeah.
That's your story. It's not they stole Spock's brain. It's how does that impact Kirk and McCoy and Scotty, et cetera, that kind of stuff. So looking at it from that angle, you get a lot more interesting things because it becomes more personal. So when Kirk is in the middle of an action scene, Kirk's fighting and gets his shirt ripped. There's, it's not just Kirk and Spock fighting. There's that's the icing on the cake, in a mock time of them fighting. That's not the story. That's the trappings. That's the thing we put on top of the story. But the story is, the relationship between these two people, and that Kirk is willing to die for to protect his friend. So that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that once I learned that, and it took a while, and once I learned that, my writing, I started getting work. It's when I started, it's when you realize those things and you submit those things, and then the publisher's like, hey, yeah, we like this,
Yeah, and Bobby, I appreciate the insight. It's taking me back because I did learn quite a bit, obviously from every author that we've been able to interview, and you've shared with us your story concepts and ideas and how you get from A to B to C and X. However, and I love how you've shared with us in the past where you're like, I was going this way, but I didn't go that way because, as you just mentioned a short while ago, the characters spoke to you and it happened. It was that organic thing.
Yeah, let's take this left turn here. And it's like, no, we got to go right. No.
Yeah.
Or it's like you tell your character, I need you to go through that door. And the character goes, do I look that stupid to you? But it gives you something better because now the character is informing how they deal with that,
Bobby, when did your characters begin to converse with you? It wasn't right away.
No, it wasn't right away. It was really.
When did they get their voice?
Really, I think it started happening when I started writing novels and was creating my own characters. Like it really started. I was taking when I was writing Evil Ways, which was my first published novel.
I'm sorry. Yes.
I was taking a night class at the University of Georgia. It was called Murder and Mayhem for Fun and Profit, and it was all about writing murder
Really?
mysteries and thrillers, and yeah, and
That's cool.
oh, it was awesome. But
Yeah.
we would read in front of the teacher and the other students, and we would get feedback. And so the two main characters in my novel are brothers, and I was getting feedback that says they don't feel like brothers. There's, you're telling us they're brothers, but I don't buy it. And so that was kind of the first time because I went and I thought about it for the week until the next class. And I was like, how do I make this work? And then I was thinking, I have a brother. How do my brother and I respond to each other? And I gave one of the characters his personality and one mine. Excuse me. And suddenly, they spoke to each other very much like brothers, which is usually a lot of smart assery and,
Oh yeah.
getting short with them, cut off there. And so when I went back and reread it, they were like, now they feel like brothers. And that was probably the first time we're getting to know the characters, and they would start saying, no, we should do this, we should do that. And then, the fact that Sheriff Myers, who appears in Evil Ways, now has his own series. The only reason that happens is because the character would not let me forget that he existed. Like I would hear this little voice in the back of my head going, when do I get my story? Because I had no intention of ever doing that, but the character just wouldn't leave.
Wow.
And one day, a story popped into my head that little voice of that character said, "That's my story."
Wow.
And now he has a series. So, trusting the characters has worked in my favor a lot.
And I appreciate. I'm glad you shared that with me. Other authors have said that as well, but
Yeah.
the eloquence is awesome. Bobby, I need you to forgive me a moment. That alarm, they just gave me new medication, and it's at 7 and 7.
Yes.
I forgot it. I have to get inside.
Take some.
Michael, please, could you carry the conversation? Gentlemen, I only need about a minute and a half. I've got to run
take
inside,
time.
get it. Yeah, I'm going to get it. So, but Bobby, continue doing what you're doing. Michael,
Mm.
cover for me for a moment, please.
I will cover for you.
I'm sorry. That was the alarm. I'll be right back.
Yes. The joys of live streaming.
It's so exciting, isn't it?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So how have you been, Michael?
Not too bad. Just, lots of internet problems.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd solved all of them, and no, I haven't. So.
Well, they just make new ones. So
I know it's
Yeah.
no fun. But we'll talk about something else.
Okay.
I talked to Randy, your other buddy in
Mhm.
Star Trek fandom. He was hoping your newest creation would be out
the
this
Starship
week,
Webster.
but
Yes.
it got delayed in
Yeah.
post-production. But
It
he just
happens.
wanted to say soon.
Ah, cool.
And
I've seen the rough cut. It's not,
Mhm.
I mean, and it looks great. Man, the actor they have to playing the villain
is something.
is
Yeah.
brings a creepy factor to it, even more than I had, because the character is creepy, and he brings something to it that's just incredible. So I'm excited for people to see. And I'm trying to do this with no spoiler here, but I'm trying,
Mhm. Yeah.
I'm curious to see people's reaction to that is because it's a new character, but it was a ball. I had a blast doing that, and it went through a few iterations because some of the cast, like originally it wasn't the Starship Webster story, and we kind of had to.
Right.
But I love the story. I think the actors did a fantastic job, and it's a very Star Trekky story.
You like creepy characters.
I
don't
do.
you?
I like creepy characters. I like action.
Mhm.
Because see, when I meet a lot of people that are talking about wanting to write a Star Trek story, I've noticed there tends to be the people that are it's all action, or it's all the moral drama thing. And TOS at its best is in the middle. You
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
know, yes, there's this nice moral drama story we're telling, but Kirk's going to have to get in a fist fight at some point. Somebody's going to have to cut his shirt, or he's going to have to chase somebody, or because those are the trappings. It is not just a sci-fi show; it is an action adventure show. And sometimes reminding people you kind of have to have the both. And yeah, so and so balancing that, especially with these, because these fan films are short.
Yes.
I'm not doing a 45-minute episode. I'm doing a 10-minute episode. And so getting to the heart of the heart of the story, and then having the action, those two things that are fun to kind of work with and play. And um
Yeah.
and sometimes you write these, you don't know who. Like when I originally wrote this, like I said, it was originally going to be other characters, and I didn't know the actors or anything.
Yeah.
So when you know them, you can kind of play to them, but if you don't, you just kind of play to the character. And then the character, the actor will bring dimensions to the character as well. It could be, I mean, they could come in and do the dialogue exactly like you do it, but their mannerisms will add an element, you know, to what they say, how they say it. And so the characters become more fully formed. Just like when I do comics, the artists bring a dimension to the character with a facial expression, or something they've done, or how a character stands and holds themselves. Body language adds an element to the character that may not be there when I write the story. So it is really exciting for me to, when I see the finished product, whether it's one of the movies or a comic, seeing how all that comes together, because it's never exactly what I saw in my head, because you know, they're interpreting what's in the script, whether it's the actors or the director or the artists are trying to think of what I was, because they can't see what was in my head. And so it's always really cool to see how all that comes together. And I'm usually very excited and very happy going. And sometimes it'll be like, ooh, I hadn't thought of that. You know, ooh, that's and that gives you something to play on it should you come back and write them again.
Mm-hmm.
That's a little, that's a little tidbit there that I liked. Or yeah, so playing with other people, that collaboration thing is a lot of fun. And so yeah, and I had a blast doing that one. I don't know how much we can say, so I'm being very vague.
Yeah, it's better to
But
be
it's
vague. Yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but it's
Yeah, because it's due, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and so, but it was fun, but it was a lot of fun, and so I wrote that one, and um, yeah, it was fun, and then I wrote another one for him that they haven't filmed yet. I know it's
No, not
in the
yet.
pipeline,
It is in
and
the
that
pipeline.
yeah,
We were
that was a
talking.
different
Actually, we were talking about it today.
yeah. So
Oh,
and that's a
So
different crew than this one. So because this
yes.
one's
Uh huh.
Webster, that one's Demos. So but yeah, but I try to approach these things kind of like, because I also do, like I said, media tie-in stuff.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you're writing these characters, you're you have to turn off the fan in you, because the fan wants to tell a certain type of story. They want to tell that story that the studio would never let you tell. You know, um, as a writer, I go in and go, oh, thank you. I actually have three shields. I have that one. I have a metal one, and I have the blue one from Winter Soldier. I love it. So nice. Um,
by the way, Jason Simmons, coworker, engineer extraordinaire. He does a program on with us on the rewatch Better Call Saul season 6 on Sunday. Nice seeing you, Jay. Thanks for spending time. Actually, I want to give a quick
Thanks,
shout
Jay.
out. I'm sorry, Bobby. Jay, Randy, Michael Bednar. Thank you for the likes, folks. We appreciate it. Everyone in the chat room, thank you for sharing your presence. Let us know who you are and where you hail from. We're in the second hour here on Monday Night America. Man, it's going by, and I love it. It's going by fast. And
I
it might
can.
be better that we started earlier. That's Michael's thing, that he starts at 6. I'm like, no, we're 7. We've always been 7. He changed it.
I don't know about you. I started at 9.
Well, yeah, because it's 6. Yeah, it's 10 now. Well, we used to start at 10 your time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I
so
remember the first one I did. Yeah, I think we were on to like 2 in the morning my time.
oh yeah, that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. Well, actually, I think they've almost all gone that way.
Yeah.
I can talk. It's yeah. It's
Well,
Yeah, and
Bobby, it's
and
not
I
only.
I have to go, but I just
Yeah,
wanted to
and I
say
thank
goodbye
you,
to
Michael, for
everybody.
covering.
And
it's
Bobby,
always good to see you, Michael. Yeah.
yeah, I will catch up with you in the next few days.
Okay, I
Okay.
just sent the invite to Randy. Let him know if you
I
don't mind.
already did, and
Yeah.
he has to pass. So
Ah,
Well, when
yeah.
and I will get in touch with you guys too when the publisher puts has finalized the Star Trek essay book, the
Oh yes.
nonfiction.
mhm.
I will introduce you guys to him. He would be a great, and I'd be willing to come on with him too, or
Yeah,
Oh, that would be,
and
yes, that would
and
be absolutely awesome. Yes.
yeah. So I think he would be a cool guest for you too. So
yeah.
I'll let you
You
know
Uh,
take
when we.
care, Bobby, and
All right. Good to see
I
you,
will see you
Michael.
soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thanks, Michael. Yeah, I know Michael's been a bit tired lately, and yeah, he's been working it.
It's a
But
busy,
I
busy
think,
guy.
yeah, I think we're Bobby, the three of us, we all have our health issues right now.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt about
It's
that. Bobby, if you don't mind, I'm going to switch over to this view.
okay. All right. Fine
Yeah.
with
This one, yeah,
me.
no, I never did like that one. I don't know why, but some people say it's
Too
better because,
close.
yeah, it is. And oh no way! Check it out, the man of the hour,
Hey.
Randy. I was just
It's
told no.
it's like we spoke his name 3 times and poof.
Well, I'm walking, so I have nothing better to do than to walk for 45 minutes. So
And that's fair. Randy, thank you. And for everyone watching, folks, Randy Landers, you know who he is. And if he would give us his website, it's always much better when the guest gives us our website.
it's
Uh, Randy, please.
www.potemkinpictures.com. POTEMKIN pictures.com. And
And
thank you for reminding me. I always forget that.
oh, hey, no, I thank you. The joy that I've had in seeing the work that you guys do. I actually don't chat up Randy as often as I wish I could because he's busy because
I
of all the
will
stuff
not
he does.
I will not take your call sometimes.
Yeah, which is, well, you always answer them, which is kind of cool. And that is me.
How are you doing, Bobby? Are you hanging in there?
I am doing quite well. Yes, quite well. Keeping
Excellent.
busy. Busy is good.
Excellent.
That's what they tell me. But yeah, you just missed it. We were just before you came on, we were talking. We were teasing the upcoming Webster and Demos things.
But did not reveal anything, Randy,
Yes,
out of
we were very, very subtle.
Oh yeah,
What
he said I have an episode that I wrote.
he
And
has two
I
that
did
he's written.
Yeah, I did
yeah.
mention the fact, like Michael and I were talking about the fact that the villain, and we didn't give the villain's name, but the villain is very creepy
Oh,
and
oh,
beautifully creepy.
was that when I stepped out?
Yeah,
Oh, okay, yeah.
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 That the
Jordan
villain, yeah, the actor that you cast to play the villain is
Jordan Consalvi, it was just
just phenomenal.
fantastic.
Yeah, because the character is written creepy,
Yeah.
but he does some stuff with his voice and facial expressions that ramps the creepy up another level. And it is, yeah, he was so good.
Even during the Webster shoot this 2 days ago on Saturday, 3 days ago, the whole cast was still talking about Jordan.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for everybody to see that. I think they're going to love that performance because he is fantastic. And
He
both
is
of them. I mean, and I'm going to blank on her name. The actress that's
Yolanda.
Yes, the two of them together are really good too. They play off each other quite nicely.
Yolanda Scroggins Perkins has been in, like, I think that Saturday made her third episode, if not her second, and she's just a great actress.
Yeah,
And
the two of them together, are just, yeah. There's some magic there that happens. Like we were talking earlier, when your characters, when the actor and character get together, there is, like, I can write all kinds of chemistry, but if the actors don't have it, it doesn't come through. And if the
right.
actors have it, boy, it comes through great. And those two played off each other quite well.
And Yolanda's such an easygoing person. She's worked so well with our cast and crew. We're so grateful that she's been in some of our productions, and we're hoping she'll continue with Webster. She's just a dynamic, vivacious person.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan was just, he's like, "Oh, I can play on this."
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh my God."
Well, and it's always fun to write like a mustache twirling almost villain.
Oh yeah.
And this villain is kind of like this is not a subtle villain.
No.
This is if he had a mustache, he would be twirling it.
Yeah, if he had the Dick Dastardly mustache, it would be, yes.
Yeah. So that was fun. And I also, like, we mentioned that there is a Demos coming up, and that's all we said about that one. We didn't say anything about the story or anything, but
the Demos episode will make everyone cry.
I really enjoyed that one and wrote it really quick too. It popped in both of those. Actually, the Webster one. The Webster one was a dream.
I know.
I woke up and I was like, ooh, and I messaged Randy a message going, I have an idea, and then that was kind of what got the ball rolling on that. But these are fun. I was telling them earlier that doing these has helped me, because when I first started doing them, I didn't know if I could do them, and so it's great practice for me, and it's great training, because you don't know what you can and can't do until you screw it up.
Well, that's one of it, putting it. Yeah.
Yeah, but I had and I've worked now, like with Randy, I've worked on 3 different casts,
Series.
because the first one we did was the hospital ship Marie Curie,
Right.
and and I remember when I first met Randy, I went and toured the sets. We were at the convention at the library there in Hoover. And so he invited me to go through the sets, and we toured the sets, and we were sitting on the bridge just gabbing. And I was like, I think I have an idea. And, if you're going to steal from the best. And that episode, if you really look at it, I swiped a MASH episode and rewrote it with Star Trek characters.
Of course.
And
that cast did really well.
mm-hmm.
We have an excellent, who was that? There was like Lillian Cole playing the Captain Gaius Star. She's fantastic, an stage actress in Birmingham. And oh my gosh, that's such a great episode.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I had a blast with that, and I've known Victoria and her husband for years, so it was great to see them playing the characters on the landing party. So yeah, it was a great fun, and we were doing, I was doing on the con when I was doing on the con circuit. I was doing screenings of these at conventions. Either, we showed the Marie Curie episode, we would show the Farragut episode I wrote, and we would show the Star Trek Continues episode I wrote at panels. Like, I would be the panel. And so there was a lot of people that got to see some of those. But my favorite one, and this one happened before the Marie Curie one came out, but I did one at the Coca-Cola Space Science Center in Columbus, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And they have the dome planetarium show,
right,
where it's on the roof. They played the episode. They played the Star Trek Continues episode on the ceiling.
Yeah,
No, I'm sorry. It was the Starship Farragut episode on the ceiling.
the Farragut.
Yeah,
That's
it was so cool.
the one with the children, right?
Yes, yes.
Now tell me the title.
Conspiracy of Innocence.
That's right.
Yes. So yes, that was one we were talking about earlier where I sat across from them for the weekend, and that idea kind of came to me, and I like the idea. And Star Trek is great for doing those weird perceptions of how things go.
Hold for
Where
a second.
where someone wakes up in an area that's not their own, or
Oh, wow.
nice.
Isn't that weird?
Look at that.
Very cool.
Roku I'm sorry for interrupting, but Roku
Not
was
at all.
doing Star Trek not long ago, and now they're doing a McDonald's commercial with
Yeah.
Grimace.
Yes, it's the 50th anniversary of Grimace.
That's Jabba the Hutt's younger brother.
Yeah. I was tempted. I went and I don't care for McDonald's. I haven't done McDonald's in a while, but I picked my dad up some dinner yesterday when I was on the way home from Batman, and he wanted McDonald's. And they had a Grimace shake, and I was almost tempted. But
I have not seen Grimace anything in forever.
Yeah, they haven't really done those characters. I guess just because of the anniversary,
I think they were concerned that he was promoting uncontrollable weight gain.
Oh. Did you try the shake? Jay would like to know.
I did not. I was close. I almost did. I was just like, I'm good. I'd already had a soda, so I figured that was my sugar. I should just, but I should leave well enough alone. But yeah. But they do that because you don't see like the Hamburglar or any of those. Like Ronald's really the only character that kind of gets any play in their stuff.
And you got to admit, Mayor McCheese is one of the worst things ever.
And Mayor I remember they used to have the little they were French fries, but they were like red, purple, yellow French fries.
I don't remember that. Wow.
Basically, it was like a blob of French fries.
Oh,
really?
They were. It took you a minute to realize they were French fries.
No.
Yeah, and because when I was a kid, I remember the stools were them, like you sat on them.
I remember that. Yes.
Okay, and those were apparently supposed to be French fry creatures. But yeah, it's weird.
The thing that I also remembered too was Taco Bell had Starfleet type booths and tables, although it wasn't Star Trek's color scheme. But I'm like, a little bit of paint, this would look really good.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's something else completely different.
Yeah, they've all kind of remodeled into a more boxy, modern. They almost all look alike.
They do.
Design of them almost all look alike, and
they're like McFast food.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and these days, it's rare to go in a restaurant and eat anymore. We still don't really go in. We just go through the drive-through, or and
I go into the restaurant because I have like one of the managers of the local one is like one of my passengers for Uber. Randy, I got some fries for you right here.
Oh, that is so cool.
Yeah. Well, my dad and I, when we do lunch, we'll go through. We'll either order food and pick it up or go through a drive-through. And we live next to a state park, so we go park down by the lake and eat lunch at the lake, which is much more scenic than
the McDonald's parking lot.
Taco Bell. Yeah. But yeah, so that's
Yeah. But I'm sorry to distracted us with the McDonald's thing, but it was so cool.
That's cool, Randy. That is cool.
That's the beauty of doing a live show.
Yes.
You just never know what's going to happen.
Ever apologize, Randy. I'm so grateful. And Randy, I also want to give you a shout out. I'm always thrilled, grateful, and thankful every time you send someone over to us or you yourself join us. So I know you're busy, buddy. I do know.
I'm glad you know. I'm not sure all the cast and crews all realize that, but
Michael puts me in my place when I whine. Well, why the hell didn't Randy join us? He's busy. I'm like, oh yes, I've heard that before. But I said that on air one time.
When you're editing 12 episodes per year and releasing 12 year, you've got other things in your to deal with.
And people don't realize how long it takes to if you've never done it, you don't realize. Like someone asked me once, why couldn't I write one of these books a month?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, just because you can read it that fast, or just because you can watch an episode of TV in an hour, yeah, it takes a lot more. Like and even you, I mean, to do this show, there's a lot of pre-work prep
Yeah.
to do, and
Exactly,
the
Roger. I mean,
afterward.
you've got to do guest prep and all this other
Yeah.
crap that I couldn't deal with. I mean, when I saw Bobby was on, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll talk with Bobby and Roger.
And
It's like, I know
Randy,
these people. I don't have to learn anything new.
I
I
don't have to
know
learn
these
anything.
people. Yeah.
and that is fair, but
And I
it
don't
was
have to
cool.
go, who do I have to play nice with today?
Oh, okay. That's cool. I love that.
Mm.
It was funny because we had just mentioned you and I sent you the invite. Michael was still with us and I said, "Hey, Michael, let him know that we'd love to have him on." And I had just sent you the message. Michael left
Well,
and we had mentioned
Michael
you.
said you weren't coming.
Yeah.
He
That's
left.
why I jumped. Bobby saw, I'm like, "Oh, hey, look." I think I did see that. And
Well,
you showed up. And then Jay said, "The power of thought," which I love that comment.
it's the power of a low pressure system sitting over on top of Mammoth Caves.
Oh,
Uh,
And I'm like,
yeah.
when it rains and lightnings, even though it's a low level lightning, I don't go on the computer.
I do feel kind of bad. He's getting a lot more exercise than I am.
I am
Hey,
currently at 1.49 miles.
Ah,
I
I'm
have to.
glad you're able to do that, Randy. I've had some therapy lately, and I can only do that on a bike ride, the machine.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, I was lucky. I hadn't been on a bike in like forever, and when I switched from the whirlpool, because I said, okay, yeah, as much as I would love to undress, and there's beautiful women here, no, I don't
Yeah.
want to do the whirlpool anymore. And they're like,
The-
oh, okay. So they put me on the bike, and I couldn't believe it. In 10 minutes, I did 1.5 miles.
yes.
And I hadn't been on the bike in a while. That was one of my joys. And I do want to give a shout out to Donna Smith Parker. Thank you
Hey,
for the
Donna.
like. Yes. Hi, Donna. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So maybe Mr. Parker may be here as well. So who knows? Maybe Mr.
Tell
Parker
Frank
will
to get
join
on
us.
the phone.
There it is. Yeah. And you know what? I'll see if I can send him the invite. And
yes.
it's all good.
Another one of those people I've written for, because Frank played a Romulan
Romulan.
in the Farragut episode I wrote. Yeah.
What was that one? It's the one with the plants, right?
No, it was Conspiracy of Innocence.
Oh, it was still okay.
Yeah, because
There
there's
was a
that one.
Romulan ship in the one with the plants also.
Right. Yes. But in the Farragut one I wrote, because they're in, spoiler alerts again, they're trapped in that machine and they're seeing things that aren't real. That it's kind of messing with their mind.
Yeah.
The Captain Carter goes to they're under attack by Romulans, and he goes to the turbo lift, and the turbo lift door opens, and he steps inside, and suddenly he's on the bridge of a Romulan warbird.
Oh, that's right.
And then he gets shot and he comes back out. In the original script, I had written Klingons, but because they had built the set, because I was going to have him be like, he enters the turbo, he opens the door and there's Klingons. And so like he just leaps in and, fight the Klingons, and then he gets shot. But they had the Romulan bridge and they wanted to use that. So we rewrote it to add that element to it. And
It's a great element. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And because they shoot him with the light, because there's all this stuff about the lights are playing over their face in the machine. And so when things go, when the machine recalibrates in his dream, the lights come over him. But instead of just doing it that way over time, in this case, he shoots the gun and the light, instead of a laser beam, that light comes out and hits him. And I thought that was beautifully, the way they shot it was quite nice. So
Yeah, actually, it did look good.
So now we got to get Bobby to write us a Klingon episode.
that is probably doable.
I need one.
We in
Juggling.
I guess it's there are hints of Klingon in the Demos episode I wrote. I kind of tossed out a couple of lines about Klingons, and I love the Klingons. I am fascinated by the Klingons and
We really
how
put in the duality of honor versus treachery in our
yeah,
two episodes so far, and
yeah,
we're going to continue doing that too, because
yeah.
Larry Fleming makes a great honorable Klingon.
Because I
And
love the original series version. They're very they're less. I mean, they're very calculating. Like later, they become louder. Like when you get up to the movies, they're louder and boisterous. But John Colicos, as Core in the original series, he's more cunning and treacherous
Yeah.
than like a Martok, who is more
Yeah.
like, "Roar," but I love that treachery. That
Yes.
this is not a guy to trifle with.
no,
Yeah.
And I love that about the Klingons. I love that episode where they're with the
Well,
Organians and all the sneaking around. It's almost like a Mission Impossible
it
episode.
is.
yeah.
And yeah,
You know, Michael Ansara, another Klingon, he
Oh,
was in a
yeah.
caricature. And then, oh my goodness, I am forgetting the third one who
William
Oh,
Campbell.
William Campbell. Yeah.
William Campbell. You are the man, Randy. There it
And
is.
then
Yes, thank you.
I am
the
when it comes to
Three.
TOS. I am.
yeah.
I am
Oh,
the.
and the
He's still
sheer
the man.
joy that I got when the three of them appeared on Deep Space Nine,
DS9. Oh wow. Yep.
and seeing them, and even though they looked different, they were still those characters,
Yeah.
and yeah. So just seeing them there, and
John passed away shortly thereafter, didn't he?
well, John Colicos was
John
on.
Colicos.
He did several.
He did 2 or 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was there for a few different like an episode a year.
Yeah.
And
One was
then
where they were
we-
looking for the sword of Kalas.
yeah, because
Yeah, that's right.
Kang and Koloth die in that episode.
Yes, they
Yeah.
did.
And we never William Campbell we never see on the show again.
Yeah.
We did see Michael and Sarah as Kang one more time in that Voyager one, the flashback, the one with Sulu.
That's
Mhm.
correct.
He was on the view screen. And I really love that scene of these two old enemies just talking to each other. And everything, and they know everything they're saying is pure BS.
Oh yeah. Yes. Uh-huh. Yeah, you're right.
But it's just that back and forth. And I
Yeah.
did think that that him and George Takei, they were so good at that it was it was cool seeing Sulu in kind of that command, really.
I really
That was
enjoyed
flashback.
that. I really thought Grace Lee was a little flat, but I really enjoyed seeing.
It's like they couldn't figure out what to do with her. Was she the first officer? Was she communications? What? It's like they were just putting her,
Yeah, just trying to
and-
wheedle her into the plot, and I'm like, I'm glad that they got the guy that played Dimitri to come
Mhm.
back and
Well,
reprise his role.
apparently the whole bridge crew was the same people.
Oh, really? See, that's
Yeah,
even better.
like the guy that was piloting the ship. It was the same guy that was in the movie, and he had stopped acting.
The
but
Boris
he came-
Boris Yeltsin lookalike guy.
Yeah, so he
Yeah.
came. He and a few of the others that weren't actors anymore, but they came back just to do this.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it was pretty cool. I would have loved to have seen more. With I like that.
Lost opportunities.
Yeah, well, even the novels don't veer into the movie era as much as I think they should sometimes.
Yeah. Again,
There's
which is fine because that gives me plenty of room to play with.
that does, yes. So yeah, and so I love seeing the that era, and like we were talking earlier about they're doing Farragut Forward, and I saw some photos today of them in those maroon jackets and everything.
Yeah,
and
Gina Hernandez looks wonderful.
Yes,
and she has always impressed me in anything she's done.
Yeah,
so I was,
and even in Strange New. I mean, are you guys watching Strange New Worlds? Or
As a
I
matter
am
of fact,
certainly.
both of you are invited Thursday night, 6 p.m. Pacific time. You can join me and my co-host Greg Teft. We're reviewing each episode on the day it debuts every Thursday
Gotcha.
night.
Well, since you guys have seen it, this is a spoiler for anybody that hasn't. But like,
come on, if they haven't seen it, come on.
In the last episode of last season, when Future Pike shows up in one of them, it was like, ooh, it gives me a little goosebumps seeing the that
that was
the
episode
movie
10.
era. Yeah, that was the one where he
sees the
sees the
kid.
future. He
Yeah,
sees the future that happens if he changes his future.
yeah, because remember, he meets an admiral or someone, and one of the children that
Right,
he will mean the future's there, and he
right,
decides to write a letter, and
right.
future self says, "Yeah, put the pin down right
Yeah,
now, dude."
and
That was
Yeah,
a good story. That
and a
was.
lot of that story only works because we know the future.
Yeah.
Because
yeah.
they play up that, if you don't if you change your fate, Spock dies,
Well,
and
and
Spock has lots to do.
I haven't seen it pointed out anywhere, so if it's been mentioned, I apologize. But it's the Edith Keeler conundrum.
Hmm.
If Edith
Oh my God.
Keeler lives, history is changed for the
Yeah,
worse.
yeah,
If
and
Pike
too,
lives,
yeah, and because
history is changed for the
right,
worse.
and we as the audience know that this accident, as horrific as it is for Pike, we know he lives.
Yes.
And he does get a semi-happy ending because he goes back to Talos, and
Yeah.
give him a fake life to live.
Yes.
So he can at least have a semblance of something. But I love the fact, because sometimes TV shows do this, because we know something as the audience, then the characters automatically know it. And
Yeah.
I'm glad they're not doing that here. Pike thinks he's gonna die, and he's convinced that
Yeah,
he's
that's
going to
right,
die.
Bobby.
Because he tells
Not
people,
just die,
yeah,
die horribly.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
right.
yeah.
Because he sees himself. Now he sees himself in the chair at one point, but he does know that that's the end. I'm dead. That will kill me. And especially for a man of action to be subjugated to not being able to move or speak, or you know that's it's almost a fate worse than death in his mind. But he is convinced just from the dialogue that yes, this will end my life.
And it's this is a personal matter, but um, someone very near and dear to me is 85 years old and got stricken by COVID while having shingles, while entertaining my children and grandchildren at their house. And I'm like, and they can't do anything. They
Hmm.
they can do nothing for him, and not he's not happy. He's depressed because his life is nearing the end. Not that he's going to die from either shingles or COVID, not anymore. But the fact of the matter is that when we face our mortality like this, it's sobering.
Hmm.
In
Right.
2017, when I had my quadruple bypass, I faced my mortality, and it changed my entire outlook on life.
Yeah. There's all that.
And
There's that stuff that you realize I haven't done this yet,
yep.
or oh my God, what happens if I mean, man,
So
I want to see how it ends. Let's keep, I want to see
yeah,
what happens next,
yeah. I
and
I can't tell you enough, guys. Like this walking right now, I was walking for the bypass, and the doctor said, you had the widowmaker, son. Less
Oh,
than
yeah.
5%, less than 5% survive. And I said, I guess it's all that walking.
mm,
He says, you walk a lot? And I'm like, yeah. He says, when you walk around the nurse's station, I'll send you home. He went off to do his next round. I walked around the nurse's station twice when he came out of it. I said, can I go home now? And he's like, no, but by God, keep it up.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was just at
Wow.
Heroes Convention over the weekend, so I did a lot of walking on Friday. Woohoo!
It's so
Yeah.
important.
See,
Um,
gentlemen, I'm telling you, I envy you. I am unable to do what both of you can do right now. At 15 minutes to 20 minutes of just simple walking, I am in intense pain because of my heel. I have two bone spurs,
oh,
and
Oof.
and one of them is where the foot comes into the heel. I
Yep.
can tell you exactly where that one is right now. I know,
Yeah.
I feel that one, and they're
Well,
going to have to resolve it. But gentlemen, I'm envious of you, and I'm thrilled, but I'm not complaining.
you
Nope.
you can tell that we're all
Yeah.
of a certain age because
Yes.
we've stopped
Because
talking about.
All right.
entropy
Yeah. All right. Hold on a
entropy has
minute.
set in.
Let me get this one. Hold on. Get off my
Get
lawn.
off my lawn. I was talking with a buddy of mine about that the other day, and we were talking. And it's like, have you realized that we've spent the last 20 minutes talking about what hurts?
My God, this is the first time that all three of us do this. This is funny, and this is good though.
It's
And
just it's
but then,
entropy.
yeah, but
Things
then
fall apart.
yeah, but
yeah,
then there's that other part, certainly of me, and I assume of most people. In your head, I still think I'm 20. I still think I can do everything I did at 20. My body then reminds me I can't,
Yeah.
but my brain still thinks, oh yeah, run up that hill, try,
Well, see, on Friday, my son and I went and got 5 pieces of 2x4x12s. And I brought them home and he helped me unload them. I said, thanks, son. He says, what do you need me to do, Dad? And I'm like, oh, just go upstairs, bud. He came out and I created an immense green screen in the backyard. And he's like, Dad, I would have helped you. And I'm like, I can do this. He says, Dad, you're 62 now. Yeah, well, I
yeah.
plan on
Well,
living to
and
be
also, and also
11-1. So
yeah. But there's also too the doing it together thing.
that's true.
Like my dad and I spend, certainly in the last 6 years, I've spent more time with my dad than I did probably in the last 20.
Yeah.
Not that we weren't close, but I didn't, we didn't live in the same place. We were, had
Yeah.
our lives, but we're, we spend a lot more time together. And as I get older, I appreciate these trips that we take more or things like
Yeah.
that, because I didn't get to do as many of those with my mother before she died, or that kind of thing. So it's one of those things, but it's one of those things that you don't know that until it's too late to know it the first time,
Exactly.
and even though we should know it because we see it, it's just, yeah. But you know what too, is, to get it back on the creative side of things, these type of experiences inform us
hmm
when it comes to telling stories.
Oh, yeah.
We can tell stories about people with health ailments or losing loved ones because we've experienced it. It adds, I mean, you can do it without experiencing it, but it adds something. You can
Yeah.
put those little details in there that someone watching it or reading it goes, I know exactly, I went through that exact same thing. And
Exactly.
so that's where, like we were talking earlier about characters, getting to know your characters. Those characters have experienced life, and that life kind of colors how they deal with everything, that experience. And knowing that, knowing that this character has a child, and then that child there's a threat to that child, that brings out this part of that character, or things like that. There's all kinds of stuff that you can draw on from real life for the storytelling that makes it so much easier.
Yeah. And it makes it more realistic.
Exactly, because your audience can see something that they recognize
Yeah. And have
in
empathy
that
for.
performance or in that story. Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are receiving a master class from two wonderful storytellers right now. I'm the lucky SOB that I get to put in a word, but these gentlemen are doing it every day. Bobby, 170 published items.
Yeah, at least.
Randy, how many episodes, stories? I mean, there's a lot. While you had just joined us and you were walking around, I was playing the Potemkin main page and just all the imagery scrolling through.
Well,
Yeah.
and
That's beautiful, by the way.
but not
Thank
only that. I mean, not only are they producing and filming and acting in and directing, they're building sets.
Yes.
People don't realize it probably takes longer to build the sets than it does to film the scenes on the sets. because I haven't seen the new one since you guys have
You
moved to
have
Kentucky,
got to come and
but
see.
I need to get up there. But I've walked the sets when they were in Alabama, and
Yes.
I've been to the Farragut sets,
Yeah.
and walking and seeing. We talked earlier about the passion that goes into these projects.
Yeah.
You see it. You can see it watching the episode, but there in person and seeing the detail that doesn't always translate on the finished episode because it's so small. Seeing all that detail and seeing all that they put into making these things look as good as they can, that passion really kind of shows through. And yeah, everybody's excited because like we mentioned earlier, nobody's getting rich doing fan films.
No, they're not.
And
But
in fact, it's the exact opposite.
here's the kicker. So we're talking about your Webster episode. I'm terrible with names right now, but
Where Monsters Dwell.
Where Monsters Dwell. It's in final stages of post-production. Rick Fox and his son Skylar are working on the visual effects. Once that's done, it's pretty much done.
And I was nice this time. I didn't throw in a lot of them. I imagined their head probably exploded when I sent in my Hospital Marie Curie, and I'm like, the hospital ship is trapped between two warring armadas that open fire.
Yeah, Chris quit after that one. You know that, right?
I did not actually. I feel bad now.
It wasn't. It wasn't you. It's just one of those. Ooh, that's a bizarre coincidence. But it was. You set an unarmed hospital ship in the middle of two superpowers shooting at each other over a world while they're trying to rescue the poor ambassador. And like you said, it's an episode of MASH. It really is.
It really is. Yeah, because I always too when I do these, I mean, I still write them in a way knowing, who I'm writing it for. Like some of those scenes with the Armada, I was just like, let's just see blips on the screen,
No.
But no, they didn't,
I said I want the turrets to turn and open fire like Spaceship Yamamoto.
Yeah, and seeing the ship, because the ship can't leave because there are people trapped on the planet, and they can't beam out because of the plot. They're having to do surgery because of the shrapnel is I forget what it was.
Transporter inhibitor.
Yeah, it's something they use in I forget the title, but they've used it in multiple episodes. That's embedded in the guy's neck, so they can't beam the ambassador out. So the security chief is performing surgery while the surgeon on the ship is talking her through it.
Again, played by another Birmingham stage actress, Lucinda McGowan.
Yeah, but that idea of that plot is, like I said, it's a MASH episode. There's a MASH episode where Radar and Father Mulcahy drive out to pick up a wounded soldier from the aid station and drive him back. Halfway back, the guy's trachea starts closing up and he can't breathe. And Hawkeye, through the radio, talks him through a tracheotomy.
And Mulcahy's the one that does the tracheotomy, right?
Yes. But all the while, bombs are exploding nearby because you'll hear the bomb, And the beauty of MASH, you didn't always see the bombs. You would hear them, and then they would throw dirt,
Yeah.
And so, but I wanted that.
And we had some dirt throwing while we were there, yes.
Yeah, and I wanted that kind of feel. And they found a great exterior location that really, it wasn't, it wasn't a backyard. It was it was out in kind of I don't know where you were, but there were a lot of rocks but just a beautiful, work out on this planet set. And I just thought, as Victoria is there doing, and we're cutting back and forth because
Veronica is doing that one.
Veronica
That's Veronica and Charles Kelso.
Yes, and so they're doing their bit. Then we cut back up here, and they're so it's a lot of quick cuts back and forth to the surgeon telling them what to do, and they're doing more. The captain's going like, "Are you done yet?" Because the ship's being shot to hell, then we see the ship getting shot, and then the captain's like, we don't have time, we've got to hurry this up. And then, but I
And the
wanted,
funny thing is the lady doing the surgery is the chief security officer who is like, I want a phaser.
yeah. And so she's, like, because they don't have surgery, it's like they don't, so they're cutting it out with a knife, so there's blood, and it's just, but I love that too. But I love the thing too at the end when it's like, got it, and then they can beam them up and the ship takes off, and I love that kind of quick, that's a wonderful ending,
throwing dirt at them while she's operating. I mean,
yeah.
And then
So
Chuck, her husband, is sitting there wearing
that
some
blue
weird
mask, yeah.
some weird head that I want to do this. I'm like, he came to us and said, I want to be this alien. I'm like, okay.
It's a cool looking. Yeah, I didn't actually know he was in it until we were at Dragon Con, and I was talking to them, and I was talking to Veronica about doing the and he goes, well, that was me, right? And I'm like, no,
you did not.
No,
you did not. Yeah.
And so, yeah, I've known them for years. They do. I've
they do those wonderful puppet
shows, and but I've met them and their daughter, and they're wonderful people. And so that was fun, and I had a blast doing that, and just seeing it come together, because watching these things, I start to I forget that I wrote it, and I'm watching it. I'm sucked into it,
Oh, that's what I like to hear. I really do.
Or every once in a while, there'll be that one line where a character will say a line and go, I wrote that.
Yes.
So there's there's at least one in every one I've done, and I just they're fun. And but yeah, like in that one, the hospital ship one, it's the one where the captain is trying to rush the surgery along, and the surgeon is like, we need another minute, Captain, and she's like, we don't have a minute.
Yeah.
And it's that,
and it works real well.
Yeah. And so I enjoy that. I'm a very action oriented writer in everything I do. I do a lot of action, a lot of those type of things.
And that episode is entitled Under Fire, correct?
Under Fire.
That is correct.
Why be subtle? Because really, that's what's happening. The ship is getting shot at for all but the first 2 seconds of the episode. They're taking fire, and it's just. And I thought they did a fantastic job with it, and it was so much fun. But there's always there's always those little lines, and that just kind of that make me giggle, because I go, I wrote that,
Ross comments in the chat room, we're in trouble if Randy is doing this during his evening walk.
That is called producer multitasking.
I mean,
come on, Ross. Come on,
buddy.
Ross. Yeah, you have the invite. Thank you, Ross.
Yeah.
So, you got to multitask.
Well, if it's raining, I got to take advantage of it. I mean, seriously, if it had not been raining, you wouldn't be hearing from me, because I'd be cataloging the footage I shot Saturday.
So, Randy, what did you walk right now? How far?
Oh, let me see.
Yeah, come on, a statistics man right here. I want to know.
Is the camera showing it?
It's a bit blurred, but what?
2.53 miles.
Ah, very nice.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Ross says, I'm making a superhero comic book again.
Hey, very nice. I just wrote a superhero comic book. So
you can join us then, Ross.
Yes, I just wrote a superhero comic book. I guess I don't know if it's been. I can't say much about it because I don't think they've announced it. But it's
well. See, that's the joy of what Ross is doing. He's working on that, and then he's going to jump in on the next Demos episode, which was written by David Eversole. And then, like I said, Rick Fox is already working on the Webster from whence. Oh, Jesus Christ, help me, please, Bobby, save me.
I didn't write that one.
No. Where monsters
dwell.
Thank you.
Yes, where monsters dwell. Stole
It's the
that one
one
from
with
the old comic book title.
we have all these wonderful titles for things like the Space Nazis. That's the one with the Space Nazis. That's the one with the
Mhm.
gangsters. That's the one with Jordan in it.
Hey, by the
That's right.
way,
That's like you
Brent,
said, the Farragut. That's the one with the kids, right?
That's the one
yeah,
with the
yeah.
kids. That's the
Yeah.
one with the plant.
Yeah. But no, yeah,
Uh,
it's Where Monsters Dwell is the Webster, and my Demos one is called Periphery.
Correct.
I went through like 3 or 4 names because the first 2 I had were like 3 or 4 words, and it's like 1 word title, it'll work.
I like one word.
Yeah.
Our only issue is finding the second location. And I know you said just redress the set, but no.
Well, we'll see what we can come up with.
That's what I'm
Randy,
saying.
I would love to. Because I wanted to try this with the Webster shoot, and I just couldn't make it happen. But I wanted to get up there while you guys are filming, and
Well, keep September kind of open.
okay, because
September
in my
what?
head there's this thing that all writers do. It's like one day I'd love to try my hand at directing one of these suckers.
Nope.
Oh,
But
stay in your lane, Bobby. But by the way,
No, it's not stay in your lane. It's just that I really am rotating people in and out of the director's chair because I'm going to be your director of photography. I'm the one deciding the shots. But I let people direct the actors
yeah,
a lot. I'm like, Randy, I have a suggestion. And I'm like, goals
yeah,
and support.
because I think too it's like here's what's happening. Here's why you're doing this. And there's some really cool stuff in the Demos script where a couple of the characters are they're moving through the hallway and their stuff's happening and they're having this conversation that kind of gets deep into the characterization of things. And I'm hoping it's right because I went and watched other episodes with with the particular characters going, how do they act? And I know one of the actors, so I could hear his voice in my head anyway. And so, but those are things. But the characters, the actors, and certainly Randy know these characters intimately well, so they can make little adjustments to like if I don't know something, I may write it in that kind of a generic way where they're doing this, and then they can add those little character quirks that makes it really that character's feels like that character.
Bobby, let me interrupt you real quick. Ross is saying, Randy, can you show some of the images I'm working on? But I think the answer is no, right? Because of the weather.
Right. I'm
Yeah.
on the phone. I'm not on my
Yeah.
computer, and I don't have any. I'm glad you told me it was Ross. I was going to ask you, who is Golden Spike?
Oh, yeah, that's Ross. Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually hearing your voices in your head isn't something you should admit to.
Not if you're a writer.
I did not admit to it.
Yes.
Bobby did.
No.
And
If you're
by
a
the way,
if you're a writer and you're not hearing your characters talk to me, you need to sit down and spend time with them.
Yeah. Elizabeth, I hope
become-
you get the feeling better too.
yeah.
Yes.
But she is very talkative, and I thank you, Liz, for letting us know that. Randy, I'm dying to tell you,
Yes.
on your Potemkin pictures, Tristan, Caliborn, Demos, Webster, Potemkin,
Cabalth.
thank you, Kupak, stopping there, you have exactly 100 episodes. And then when you go into limited run, another 13.
Yes. We're
You're at
busy.
113.
No, I'm at 107. Bobby's episode. Well, no, it wasn't Bobby's episode. It was probably a Rick Endress episode. Rick wrote a crossover between Kapuk. Remember? Said Kapuk, even though it's spelled Kupak. And we all say Kupak, but Captain Kesh says Kapuk because he's from South Klingon. But that's a Marie Curie Kapuk crossover. And so it shows up twice. And there's a Demos episode called the Blood Crystals, where the Kapuk episode is a matter of trust, and it shows up both in Kapuk and in Marie Curie. You've got Blood Crystals, which shows up in Demos and Marie Curie. So we have some crossovers from time to time, and they just show up twice on our list so that fans Oh, there's only 2 Marie Curies. No, there's 5. Get out there and look.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, folks, 107.
107.
Mm.
Wow. That
And,
And
is
and it's a labor of love. I
it
mean,
is.
it absolutely is.
A guy asked me today, he says, I'm looking over your Uber profile. You make movies? And I said, yeah, here's a card. Comes back about 5 minutes later. He says, how much do you make on this? And I'm like, not a dime.
Yeah.
And he was like, why do you do it? And I'm like, because
a
I'm
lot of
having
people do.
fun.
I love it. I explained it. Someone, because I have had people have said the same thing. Why do people spend this much time, effort, and money? I said it's no different than a guy who buys old cars and spends every waking moment working on them. It's
It's no
no.
different than my friend Kelly Lebsack from Denver, Colorado, who has the biggest Broncos fan I've ever met, who videotapes every single
Mhm.
game, and you better not dang well tell him anything about a game he hasn't watched yet.
Yeah, it's the same as people that spend hours putting models together. It's the same.
Yep.
It's just something you love. It's something that brings you joy, because I guarantee you, as much work as it is, if you're not enjoying it, you won't keep doing it. Certainly 107 episodes. There
Bobby and
has to
Randy,
be. Yeah.
may I add to everything both of you just said? What you are doing is, and Randy, you were busy, but Bobby was talking about growing up and playing Star Trek in the backyard.
Hmm.
Yep.
Forgive me. I believe you're doing that. Gentlemen, I
Hmm.
when I get to speak to you, both of you, and to everyone else, I never thought I'd be playing this role. And I get to speak with you gentlemen on what you do. And I never thought I would do this. I thought I was going to be a store manager. Noriegas
Hmm.
are store managers. What the hell am I
Oh,
doing on the internet doing this?
Well, and it's one of these things. Too. I mean, as a kid, I didn't understand the business side of things. I just thought this stuff's cool. How cool would it be to be part of these things? But once later, I mean, it's very hard to get into media tie-in stuff a lot of times. Um, but like we were talking earlier, publisher comes and says, "Hey, Bobby, you want to write Kolchak the Night Stalker?" And I'm saying yes before they get the words out of their mouth because I'm a fan.
yeah.
You know,
By the
or
way, get Steve Stevers to play Kolchak. He looks
oh, that would be
awesome.
cool. Yeah,
He looks awesome in his cosplay for that.
yeah. And so doing things like that, or like this, we talked earlier about that. I wrote the essay for that upcoming TOS nonfiction book. It was one of those things. The publisher's like, "You want to do this?" And it's like, "Absolutely."
Yeah.
Because I have much love for these properties. Sometimes you take on properties you don't love, but the ones you love, it's a real, oh my God, I want to be a part of this.
And
I
see,
want to, yeah.
in 1974, when I read Star Trek Lives by Joni Winston and who else wrote that? I guess Marshak and Colberth and maybe Lichtenberg.
Hmm.
I said, I could do that. And I started writing. And in 1974, I got my first story published in Grip, a Star Trek fanzine.
Very nice.
By 1979, I was publishing my own Star Trek fanzine. And by 2013 or 2010, I realized, I read this article, Paragon's Paragon, and I could do this. And
Yeah.
I said,
You,
let me make a movie. And my wife
yeah.
says, you got to prove to me, there it is. You
Yep.
got to prove to me that it can be done. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
So I made a proof of concept called The Old Guys, and we've been rolling ever since.
Yeah. Well, as a kid, when I was in middle school and high school, I had friends that were on the comics, and we would not just do Star Trek, but we do all kind of comics. And so we do
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Trek comics, or and this was pre-internet days, so fanzines were an issue and that you could do.
Yeah.
But like now, you can just write this stuff, put it up on the internet for all to see and
Yeah.
enjoy, and you can play
Yeah.
with, you know. Um, and
One
I
of my,
love it. And it's like I that's like when you guys when I talk with you guys about doing writing fan film scripts. Because I have people all the time. It's like, why are you doing that? You don't get paid. And I was like, yeah, but I get paid for this other stuff. And
Yeah.
I said, this is something I'm doing for fun.
You
And
know,
and I love it. I love that universe. I
yeah.
love playing. And as cool as it is writing new characters, like writing characters that are newly created, I gotta tell you that one Star Trek Continues I did, where I was putting dialogue in Kirk, Spock, and McCoy's mouth.
Yeah.
There are moments where watching it that I stopped seeing the new actors playing these guys, and I heard Shatner, and I heard Nimoy, and I heard Kelly's in my head saying these words. And yeah, that's a goosebump moment, for me as a writer.
Um,
And yeah.
our second episode, well, our third episode that we filmed was called The Void, and I had written it, and it's a Potemkin episode. We've got our cast. I am lying down in between Bethany Carver's legs on the bridge. She's playing a Vulcan navigator. I'm lying down between her legs, holding a boom mic so that it's not in camera as Mr. James Hughes is directing it, I believe, was the director, and he's directing it, and I'm just in shock because here I am holding a microphone and I'm hearing my words come to life, and I'm looking down up at Jeff Green from the floor, and he's delivering it, and I've got the young lady who's now a comedian in Atlanta turning, and she's Blair Erskine, and she's turning her chair, giving him the reports. And there's supposed to be a Romulan on the view screen, and I'm like you, Bobby. I'm like, oh my God,
Yeah.
my story has come to life.
Yeah. There's that. It's almost like a hot flash sensation that kind of
Yes.
rolls over your body. When I did Farragut, the Farragut one I wrote, they had a screening at the sets. And so because they had the one empty room that was for other sets, and so they showed it on the wall, huge screen, and I think there were maybe 200 people showed up. I mean, it was a big deal. And a
Yeah.
friend of mine and I rode down together from Atlanta, from where I live, and it was like a 5-hour drive. So we drove down. We drove down. We walk around the sets a bit. We're hanging out. We all get in there. We sit down. The episode starts. It starts with a little teaser. Then it goes into the opening credits. It comes out of the credits, and there's a shot where when we come into the first act, the Farragut is flying toward camera and then passes camera. And as it's doing that, the title comes up. And as the Farragut passes by, it's written by and it's got my name. And my buddy looks over and he goes, "How cool is that?" And I was like, "Are you kidding? I can go right now."
Yeah.
You know what? That was worth the 5-hour drive.
Yeah.
And it just, because that was, and also that was my first, the first time I'd done that, the first time I'd seen something like that with my name on it. And it was just one of those, it's one of those moments. It's hard to put for a guy who uses words for a
Yeah.
living. It's hard to put into words the exact feeling that those moments conjure up.
When in the Webster's premiere episode launch, I had written that one because I just wanted to introduce the characters. It was a proof of concept. I needed to show these actors this is how we're going to do this, and this is what it's going to end up looking like on screen. Because Bobby, as you know, filming with Farragut, it isn't shot in the same order that you see
Oh,
it on the screen. You
absolutely
have
not.
to. We'll shoot the ending of the episode first sometimes, and people are like, "You what?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
won't it spoil it for the actors? And I'm like, "No,
They already know.
they know."
Yeah.
So Ross Trowbridge was doing the visual effects, and the Webster comes out of the dry dock. Oh my God, I was just so thrilled.
Hmm.
May I cheat, Randy? May I go to that
Yes,
and play
absolutely.
that?
You have my
Okay.
permission to play.
Do you have that timestamp, or is it the very beginning of the
It's
episode?
at the beginning.
All right, you tell me when to stop, but here it is, the very beginning, folks. Oh, by the way, Randy, how long ago was this?
Webster.
Just years. Yeah.
No, 2019, 2020.
Check that out, folks. Forgive me. Here we go.
See, that was thrilling.
Mm-hmm. That's the
That's thrilling.
Are you able to hear it?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
See the sound gets me. The little doo-doo, yeah.
And you can barely see her there. She's there. We can scroll forward just a little bit if you want.
I'm sorry?
You can scroll forward a little if you want.
Now were these filmed? These were filmed in Alabama.
Captain on the bridge.
This one was the first episode.
Ready, Captain.
The first episode we shot here in Lexington on our new sets. Somebody said, "Oh, her jumpsuit looks terrible," and I'm like, "That doesn't look any worse than the red ones they wear in Rapicon."
Is reporting one crew member under their care.
Yeah, I can tell. It does look like there's more space between the captain
Oh God, yeah.
and the people behind the captain. Yeah.
That face. I'm sorry.
I'm wearing green there.
Probably one of the crew is in your care.
Oh, yeah.
Transfer to Starbase 211 before departure.
I don't believe so, Captain. Ensign Dacian is molting and presently incapacitated for the next 6 hours. They'll be good as new for the next 8 years or so once this is finished.
I'm relieved to hear that.
I understand this is quite an event for their people, indicating a last step before adulthood. Very fortuitous that it's happening on our launch day.
I love that look he gives.
Yeah.
I understand.
My congratulations on the new Paris.
My congratulations as well. Prescott out.
And we were talking earlier, Roger, about all that detail. Look at all that detail in the back.
Oh my God, yes.
We drew all of these control panels by in Corel Draw. We based them on the Lee Cole's designs for Star Trek 4.
Contact Starbase 211 request.
Right, but even the fact you can get away without having things moving in the back, but you still go through the effort to see screens moving and things.
Clear for departure, sir.
Nicholas Meyer said it best too. You gotta have blinking lights for science fiction.
Lieutenant Madigan, they're all
You
more.
can see that's a QWERTY keyboard on her screen. That's why when Scotty says a keyboard, how quaint.
Mhm.
All mornings are clear, Captain.
Very well.
This is the moment.
Mr. Ryerson, maneuvering thrusters.
Oh, here it comes.
Maneuvering thrusters, Captain.
Hold station.
Thrusters at station keeping, sir.
That's what I love. Here it comes. Look at that.
Maneuvering thrusters, Lieutenant Ryerson. Kicks out. Once we're clear, engage impulse.
Everyone hold your breath.
That shot.
Starbase 211 reports we are clear of space dock, sir.
Sensors confirm distance and clearance, Captain. We report moderate ship traffic in the area.
I recommend caution, Captain. Commander Tavarek's definition of moderate is somewhat different than my own.
Impulse and warp power online, sir. Lieutenant Madigan, standard orbital yard departure.
Aye, Captain.
Lieutenant Ryerson, 1/4 impulse power.
Oh, I love that angle.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what you'd expect from a gas giant with a
1/4 impulse power.
hanging above it.
Mhm. That's one of the things I really love too about like especially like Strange New Worlds. They're going out of their way to show them at different angles to each
Yeah.
other. You know, TNG often and
Salutations being received
TOS
on all
often had them
frequencies.
approaching as if they were,
Returning common fair winds to all vessels.
all on the same
All
plane.
reference.
Aye, Captain.
And then the peel off scene. All those ships are series of ours.
Mm-hmm.
We are clear of traffic and free to navigate.
Approaching departure point.
Course setting, Captain?
Navigator set course 343 Mark 3, helm. Warp factor prop.
Course laid in and engaged, Captain.
Warp drive ready to engage, sir.
Sword. Bye, my friends. Stars with
Hmm. Wow.
Isn't that
That's
wonderful?
impressive.
Yeah.
So Ross actually had to animate the Webster, which is a Centaur class, and that was, I think, the first time that had been really done that well before. I mean, I'm not going to discount its appearances in Deep Space Nine, of course, but I mean,
Mhm.
it's the first time in a fan film it had been done, and it's
Mhm.
just gorgeous.
I had forgotten in that episode was the peel off. My jaw kind of dropped right now. I'm like, oh my God. And I did not remember that. That is
It was
really
every
cool.
one of our ships except for the
Yep.
Kapook.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, wow.
Yeah. And one of the things I look at these things different now, having worked behind the scenes on things and having acted in things, and I now I notice different things that I might not notice just as a fan before I was privy to some of the behind the scenes stuff. The thing that stands out for me in that scene is the lighting on the bridge.
Yes.
The lighting on the bridge is absolutely gorgeous.
And the lighting, we changed the lighting from episode to episode because some episodes call for really dark lighting.
Yeah.
Let's go pee-pee. Sorry, y'all don't need to go pee-pee, but other people, the other important family members must be reminded.
But of course. It's still funny, though.
Look at the puppy. Look at the
That
puppy.
was just like, oh, are you letting us know? Thank you.
Oh no, special guest star is Gina.
Hey,
She belongs to my daughter. Are you special? All right, take off. Don't look at me. Go pee-pee. I don't care if it's raining. Go pee-pee. All right.
It was
the joys of live streaming.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yes.
No. This is beautiful.
Yeah.
This is absolutely great. I
saw Ross said, "Oh shucks," and I'm like, "Yeah. Ross, he's great."
Ross has been on with us at least twice. I guess he's busy right now, but
he is working on an
there it
actual
is.
comic book.
TMI. There it is.
What is that?
Sure. Come on, Ross. You've been on this program, NDB Media.
Yeah. Is he writing the comic, drawing the comic, both, or?
No, he is photo illustrating photos.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So that they're becoming comic book characters.
Oh, very nice. Okay.
I don't know if that's the proper word. Ross needs to tell me if I'm correct.
Yeah. Well, there are people that have used photos for comics.
Yeah, but I think it's kind of a Ross. Would you call it rotoscoping? We'll see if Ross agrees with that. That was an
comics. Comics are fun. I love writing comics. I do it as often as I can. He's photoshopping. Yeah.
He's photoshopping. Yeah, but he says I'm too busy. See, I take the time to be on your show because it's raining, and
I love that line, but you have been on with us before, and I'm thrilled. And forgive me, I'm going to be a jerk right now. You're not on other programs.
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
Oh, I'm on whoever takes me.
Well, all right, fair enough. But I do appreciate.
I just have a tendency to say what I think too much for some people, and that's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I was saying earlier.
Beautiful
Sometimes
right
it's
here.
like, yeah, sometimes it just depends on you have to ask.
Well,
And
yeah, and Michael usually there to stop me from saying
Yeah.
it. Don't talk about this. Don't
Yeah.
talk about that.
Oh my God! So he does it to you as well.
Yeah.
I
Mm.
remember he
Well,
told me that one time, and I was like, Michael, I already sunk myself. You know, I'm the Titanic redo. So,
yeah. I've been doing this long enough now that this little voice in my head will go, "Shut up."
Well,
Maybe that's Michael. Maybe he implanted something. I don't.
I'm probably
Maybe.
older than both of you, and I always forget to shut up. So
Randy,
yeah.
you've never been. Sorry, Bobby. Randy, you have always been professional. You've been cool. You share your insight. You have never overtly slammed anyone on this program. We were. It was a pile on for a certain individual, and we'll leave it at that. The fan community knows who we're talking about. Okay, so there's one individual that went out of the way to ruin it for all of us and make it very difficult. It doesn't take too much to realize that, folks.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, we just go by their posts on their website. What are we, 7 years now?
don't know.
Might be 8 years. Oh, very good,
Yeah.
Randy. Very good.
I know nothing.
I don't know.
Yes,
I don't know.
nothing. I
Nothing
see
at
nothing.
all.
That's
Oh,
right.
where did I go? There we
I
go.
turn into Schultz when at certain moments. Just like I know nothing.
Doggy bed.
Hey,
So,
Hang on. Doggy bed.
all I ask is I'm reading the posts.
Doggy bed.
Cool. Okay, but
Hang
yeah,
on for
but
a second.
comics are fun. So I hope he's having fun doing it. I absolutely love writing comics. Comics are my first love. That's what got me started in writing because I wanted to be an artist, and I'm not good enough to be a professional artist.
Yeah, but the artist needs your words, buddy.
Right, all right, but I understand because I can do the art.
Yeah,
I can understand a little bit. That helps when I talk to artists. I can
yeah.
tell them what I'm thinking. I can do things like that. And but
Willow,
yeah, so
come on.
that's
Willow.
yeah.
Let's go see Mama. Willow,
That's
come on.
funny, Ross. You got me in on that one. I like it. That is funny. I love you, buddy. I like that one. It does rhyme with it. And like I said, I just read the posts. I'm going by what we're told by that entity.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's funny, Bobby. I'll use that every now and then. At work, they'll catch it when I'll say, "Well, that or it." People are like, "Wait a minute, is Roger talking about a person?" I've been doing that for 31 years, man. When I don't think highly of someone, I say it or
he
that.
who shall not be named.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
I try not to just give them the time of day. It's like, okay.
Yeah, and that's why I consider myself fortunate being able to speak with you gentlemen that have been involved. You've done it. And it's funny, you know, Bobby, you were talking about writing episodes for Farragut, for Potemkin Pictures, and the episodes are shorter. But The Void, correct me if I'm wrong, was 31 minutes, right, Randy?
That is correct.
That's not short, man.
It's shorter than a regular episode.
Sure, but it's not a 9-minute episode, man. That is 31 minutes is really good.
Yeah, because I tend to angle mine around the 10 to 12 pages. You know, and when you do a script page, a page is roughly a minute.
Yeah, I heard in science fiction it's roughly a minute. Yeah.
But it's but then also too, I mean, when you're writing it, I can write things like, you know, the Webster flies through space. You know, that's one
and
sentence.
that's like an 8-hour process.
Right. I don't know how long
for 5 seconds, right, Randy?
Right. I don't know how long that shot's going to take, you know. You know, or you know, I can write. There's the hospital ship Marie Curie is trapped between two warring armadas. I don't know how many ships that's going to be.
Yeah.
And armada means a lot.
Yes. Right, but like, you know, I mean, if you think about it, sometimes Star Trek has skimped on things like that. Like, remember the entire Earth planetary defense thing that went after the Borg ship and Best of Both Worlds was 3 ships.
Yeah.
I would like to think we had, I would like to think there's more ships there for Earth planetary
Oh
protection.
yeah, that was a Jupiter defense.
Yeah.
And I loved the line in that episode. Oh, it looks like Jupiter defense is responding, and I don't know
And
how
it's like,
long we
choo,
see
choo,
it.
choo.
Oh, come on, man.
Yeah.
Well,
And
you know how those Jovians are,
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah.
But it's
Oh,
but it is that old joke too. It's in comics with artists, where artists are like, "Oh, sure, I get a
See?
page from the writer, and it says 6 panels. Panel number 1, 10,000 Spartans come over the mountain charging. Panel 2," and the
Yeah.
artists are like, "Oh," because
Yeah, Ross just told you that or posted that it takes him several hours, like I said,
Yeah.
about 8 to do that spaceship flyby kind of thing.
Yeah.
And he's quite right. He had to render a giant. I didn't write it though. It was Billy who wrote that one. And Billy's had a giant boneyard of ships in space. And well, God,
That's a lot.
a couple of weeks.
The beauty of it is, though, is once you do it once, if you ever need something similar, you've got them. You can.
We don't use stock footage.
Well, no, but you can play with pieces.
Oh no! But of your footage, once you do
Right.
your footage,
Yeah, like if the Webster does a flyby, you can use that one multiple times.
yeah.
Not
Whether
usually.
you do or not, but you could.
Not usually, but I actually think I'm going to be doing that for the Demos episode. A couple of them. In fact, I'm pretty sure the one that Ross is about to do, he did some of them before.
Because certainly the opening shots of the Enterprise flying through space, they filmed that once and used it over and over and over and over again.
Oh my God, the 3 Klingon battle cruisers in TMP.
Or how many times did they blow up that same bird of prey in Star Trek 6 and Star Trek Generations? I think it blew it up in a Deep Space Nine episode.
Oh yeah, that's and Generations. Prepare or spread a photon torpedoes. We're gonna have to hit them the minute they drop their shields. One.
Boom.
One torpedo. Oh
Yeah.
wow.
That's why I don't understand why Paramount was even trying at some points, especially on Generations. I'm like, what were they doing here?
Yeah. There were concepts in that movie. Randy, I was talking to Bobby earlier about when you get the impression that it's immense, epic in scale. The theme for First Contact gave me that feeling that this is an immense story. I mean, so was Undiscovered Country. But in Generations, the concept of being able to move stars, that was a creative idea. That was big. But they didn't. Yeah.
The problem that Generation faced, in all honesty, was a low budget and a script that was little more than 45 minutes long, and they threw in like 10 minutes or 15 minutes of Captain Kirk.
Well, and a lot of that too. If I recall, there was a lot of Paramount said it must have.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they gave him
a lot of that. Yeah.
So I took Generations and re-edited it so that Captain Kirk's not in it at all. Not at all.
Yeah.
I remember
it makes a whole lot more sense about it. And I showed it at Shore Leave.
Yeah.
And all the Kirk fans are glad to see that. Oh, see, he didn't have to die. They said he had to die, and I'm like, no, we don't have to die.
Yeah.
It's not in the movie.
Yeah, I just saw recently they released these little shorts of Starfleet recovering the saucer section and Spock going to Kirk's grave.
Yeah.
I don't know what those are for, but I know they were showing.
They're supposed to be this new rendering company, but it's like a promo for them. They also incorporated footage of what was that yeoman in The Cage?
Oh, Colt, yes.
Yeoman Colt
Yeah.
is in several of these too, but they've moved her to Star Trek: The Motion Pictures timeline.
Yeah, because Spock does that too. Because Spock is there on the Viridian 3 planet,
and they were implying that these are lost scenes that were shot for motion picture and never shown. No, they weren't.
Yeah.
No, that's just
no.
not.
It's
and it's
using
funny.
that new.
People are going to believe that.
Yeah,
they're going to believe it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And see, this is what the danger of AI can be, is that people will get confused about what is reality and what is not. I mean, it was just a promotional thing for their rendering program or their rendering engine.
Yeah.
So
Ross was answering both of you. I love the story about Shatner getting Stewart to wear pantyhose for the writing scene. It kept them both from chafing.
Yeah. And I
it was beautifully
believe,
done,
like,
though.
yeah. And a lot of that stuff, like, I think the horse stuff came because Shatner wanted to be on a horse.
Yes.
Well, they wanted to appeal to him to get him to commit.
Because I remember Ron Moore was talking in an interview once, and I'm going to paraphrase this. It's not a direct quote, but like, he was like that the two of them spent months writing Generations because there was so much, that had to be done, that was mandated. This has to happen. You got to kill Captain Kirk. We've got to, all these things must happen. They wrote All Good Things like that, and it's a much better story.
And see, that's why when people like, I'm not going to say, I've had actors who say, my character must be doing this, and I have to do this. And, if my character is not doing this, I really don't see the need. My character needs to have at least 7 or 8 lines for me to make this trip. Okay, thanks. And their characters are kind of just,
yeah. Because not every episode there's a star of every episode in Star Trek. Pretty much. I mean, there are episodes that are everybody's doing something, but every episode someone is the focus, and the majority of the time it's your lead actors. There are very few episodes of TOS where Shatner or Nimoy are not the main focus.
Correct.
There are some, but not a lot.
Christine Chappell and Roger Corby.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that they alluded to that, by the way.
Yeah. Now, once we get up to the TNG era, DS9 era, you would have episodes where Dr. Crusher gets an episode. So they got more ensemble-ish, I guess.
And see, that worked, I think, at the time, but I don't think that necessarily is required of fan films.
No.
On Webster's Shoot Saturday, we gave everybody a line except one guy. And it wasn't by design. It just simply, everybody had something to say. And ironically, it was the chief engineer. I say ironically because in the Demos episode we had shot last month, everybody got a line but the chief engineer. So,
hey, the chief engineer has a lot to do in my Demos episode. So
the chief engineer had just had an episode, and I don't know if y'all saw it or not, called Siren Song, where she even got to scream at the captain at the end of that. I'll tell you what, you're gonna do it my way or the highway, Captain. I'm like, yeah, you had a great episode. Time to take one off.
Yeah, because in writing these, that is a thing that I have to think about is.
Yeah. Everybody's gotta have a line.
Or it's like, man, I don't have anything. Like, I think it was one of the either Webster or Demos where I was like, I don't have anything for this character to do.
Yeah.
They need to be there manning their station, but I don't have anything for them to do.
And I honestly think that that's in the episode, the one with Jordan.
It could be. Yeah. He's back.
Hi, Michael.
Well, you were all talking about me, so I thought I'd better.
Oh, look, he's got a fake background. Look at the fake background.
The picnic is over.
That's right.
The picnic is like, I mean, I happen to know it's pitch black here, and our sundowns are later than his.
Oh,
Well, I'm in a special
Toma.
place.
Michael is on the holodeck. Leave him alone.
Okay. If he wants to pretend he's on the holodeck, I've got a green shirt on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'd go getting mine.
Yeah.
Hey, by the way, Michael, thank you for returning. I know you're not feeling it, brother, but thank you. I really do. It means a great deal. I'm glad you're still part of the conversation.
I can't
Bobby,
find any topless women in the background. I'm very upset.
they're behind the trees.
I don't know. I'm looking.
No, actually,
Bobby,
they're on the
funny
boat.
what I said earlier, right?
They're on the boat past the tree.
Ah.
Okay, they're past three. But funny what I said earlier about me canceling that trip because you don't know how long it's going to take. And look, without even batting an eye, we're at 2:35, man,
Yep.
and we're not even.
Oh, you're not batting an eye. I'm like, I've just.
I know. I'm
The
sorry,
dogs have
Randy. I
gone
know.
pee-pee. I've walked 2.5 miles.
Damn proud of you, sir. Not that I'm anyone to be, but I still am. Some people just can't spend enough time in Riza.
Oh, Michael
That's
was on
funny, Ross.
Ryza.
Ross, come on, buddy. Come on, man.
Hey, Mike, Ross, tag me out, man. Tag me out. I'm ready to go. Tag me out.
Take him out. That's funny.
Oh,
Yeah.
lordy.
Randy, I appreciate. I know it's tough for you. I know you do a lot of stuff too, and it means a
Yeah.
great deal.
Michael does more than me. He had a flood at his house today or something.
That's it in the background. That's where he's at.
Is that what
Really?
they worked on at your house, Michael?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Boy, that would have cost a lot of money. I need to get one of those.
To pay for it, he charged people $5 to come in with their boats.
Oh,
That's how he's going to pay for it. See?
I'm working on Deadpool right now.
okay. Show us or it's not happening.
Oh, hey, come on. That's funny.
Sorry, had to go to Klingon laugh mode.
Yeah,
that was good.
Yeah, but we'll definitely have to talk. Michael, he's kind of got me roped into writing a Klingon story.
Yeah, he's got to write a Klingon one.
Yeah.
Just one.
Michael, you missed a master class of these two talking about production, writing.
Hey, Roger fell asleep while Bobby and I talked.
Not at all. I was watching the commentary and stuff. I've never, not with you boys or
he
you
was sitting
men.
there thinking, you know what? I don't have to do much work tonight.
Let me tell you, I was laboring. Randy, all kidding aside, I'm laboring, all right, for physical reasons as well. It was funny when all of us were complaining earlier, but I did tell Bobby just before I went on, I was like, I had a commitment like maybe at 1:32, 2:30 in the morning, and I said, screw it. I don't know how long I'm going to go with Bobby, but it doesn't matter if we go 20 minutes with Bobby or we go 3 hours.
Yeah,
I'm not doing it.
I have no trouble filling the time. I was on a podcast one time, and there was supposed to be me and one other guest, and the other guest canceled at the last minute, and they're like, "I am so sorry. I don't know what we're going to do." And I'm like, "Dude, I can fill an hour on. Hey, Bobby, what you up to?"
Oh, that was Michael Day. Michael Day that was your show, wasn't it, Michael?
Yeah.
It's just like I can fill. I've been doing this long enough now.
Oh.
Not a problem. And
yeah, because I have not received him yet, Ross. He's two images he's trying to send me, but he's on dial-up. Dude, is it doing the AOL sound? That I haven't heard in a while.
Yeah.
Wow, it's like a time warp.
Yeah.
And I can't say anything because even though my mom passed away last January, I was like, Mom, you don't have any bars here. And she says, what do you mean? I don't drink. And I said, no, Mom, my phone doesn't work here.
I had to laugh. I don't know if you guys have seen it. There's this. Oh, it's an insurance commercial at Liberty Mutual, and they're talking. The mom and the daughter are sitting on the park bench at the water, talking, and she tells the mom something about saving the money, and mom's like, "Oh, I'll put that on my phone," and she pulls out a sticky note and slaps it on her phone and writes the note, and her phone has got nothing but like Post-it notes on it.
Yes, I like that commercial.
But in my head, I swear, when I see stuff like that, I still hear that woman from that older commercial that goes, "That's not how this works. It's not how any of this works. Yeah, she's in my head a lot.
Michael's kissing up to you, Bobby. I'm
Oh,
seeing your
hey.
books somehow on your
Yes, that was I did a book signing
at the
at
lake. How wonderful!
the lake. Yes, we were at the Monroe Arts Center for the Arts. Yeah, it was a little fun evening. I think there were 10 or 15 writers there. So yeah, it was fun. I did. Yeah, I'm going to be teaching a class there. We haven't set a date yet, but I'm going to be teaching a class on creating comic books there. So that should be fun.
That should be fun.
Yeah.
You should get the signatures and make them, fold them, and bind them with like string.
That's more work than I want to do.
Let me interrupt. I want to give another shout out. We just got another like. We're up to 6. Thank you, Victoria Avalon. Thank you, Victoria. We just got a like right now. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Very nice. So yeah, because we've been talking for a bit here. Yeah, it's been a good conversation.
I love your Oh, we just lost him. I wonder if something, because he said thunder and lightning.
He said thunder and lightning.
Yeah. So, or maybe he tried to press the button and
very, very frightening.
Yeah. No, yeah, he's back. Yeah, it was an accidental. Hi, Randy.
What happened?
It's those darn ion storms.
Did you hang up on me?
Why would I?
I don't
Michael
know.
did.
Michael,
Oh, yeah,
stop
blame it
hanging
on
up on
me.
me.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, it is. Bobby, I think in the first 3 to 4 minutes, I loved what he says. He says, well, I know we're going to get around, and I'm paraphrasing. I know we're going to get around to talking Star Trek. And I thought to myself, I said, yeah, I guess yeah, we are.
Well,
and
it's been every episode
later,
I've been on. Yeah.
Yeah, 10 minutes later, and I think we've been on it ever since.
Yeah.
And it's been beautiful. We were talking about story. We were talking about what Michael Piller did on because I submitted a script, Randy, to back then, and I got the release. I was talking about that, and Michael Piller had the cover sheet where he explained what he wanted to see and what he didn't want to see, and it was basically, well, I'm repeating it now, and I'm sorry, but he says, what happens to our characters and how do they grow from it?
Yeah,
I was like, oh wow.
Yeah, because you can have the coolest special effect happen, or the coolest monster, or the coolest anomaly, or whatever. But if it doesn't impact your characters, it doesn't resonate.
Yeah, and it's funny you said that in the guidelines it said no strange signals, no Jack Crusher stories, no, our crew cannot have children, family members. Don't do that.
I remember too.
Specific story.
I remember the only two I remember. Geordi can't be trapped on a jungle planet. There was one about we don't need to see Geordi swinging from vines. And there was one that says, no matter how cool the idea is, Ricardo Montalban is not coming back as Khan. I remember those two. I remember those two.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own little. I have mine. I mean, and one of them, like, we violate them from time to time, but that doesn't matter. Like, one of ours is no musicals, and that one won't be violated.
Yeah,
but are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive.
When I do media tie-in work, or even when I write something for you, I don't
wait till the Klingon episode.
I don't go into it thinking, "Ooh, what as a fan, what do I want to write?" I go into thinking, "Okay, I've been hired to write the next episode of this. What am I going to do?"
And I told you that the concepts are honor and treachery.
Yeah. So you know that. And so when it comes to pitching stories, especially for anthologies, like, okay, we're gonna do an anthology for Zorro. It's gonna be 20 Zorro stories. The first 5 that pop into my head, I discard them, because if they come to me that easy, somebody else has pitched them.
Yep.
So when it comes to doing these things, I try to think of it as not like, because a lot of times fans approach things from, Well, if I was writing it, Spock would get hitched, and there'd be a little, baby Spock's running around, and we're not doing that. That's not going to happen. So don't even pitch that. Don't kill off characters. Don't. It's got to be. It's like the show. The show starts with the Enterprise flying through space. Everybody's fat and happy and laughing on the bridge. When the episode ends, they're on the bridge, laughing, cutting up, flying off to their next adventure. You can do all kind of crap between those.
Yeah.
But
tell Ross let's not pretend that we've never heard this idea.
Yeah.
Sorry, Bobby. That was
I
funny.
am not writing a musical. I don't like musicals, so I'm with Randy there. I'm not doing it. But
by the way, Victoria, if she is still watching, Victoria, I'm going to ask Michael to reach out to you and see if we can have you on as well to return, because you've been on with us at least once, maybe more than that. So hopefully Michael can set something up, but it won't be in July. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. We're going to be taking some time off, unfortunately, unless Randy has a debut or Bobby has a debut of anything, then we'll do it. But we are going to continue with Strange New Worlds only in July. So I'm inviting
Plus the one arc episode.
Oh, right. I guess after July 4th. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
have to, Randy.
Guys, I've been
Randy
at
and
this
I'll
since
have
2008.
Randy and I'll have to come back when the Webster episode airs.
Oh yeah.
Bring some folks. And
actually, I think it was implied to me that we were going to have a chance to have you guys on about that.
Cool.
And then Ross, you too, buddy. You got to come back and join us. I'll think about sending you more FX shots after I hear at least 2 songs, Randy.
Nope.
That's funny that Ross is the one holding out for the musical. I never would have thought. Didn't think he had it in him.
I certainly wouldn't pick West Side Story.
Yeah.
I might do maybe Gilbert and Sullivan with the modern major Klingon general or whatever. But
that was one of the harder parts for me in the Star Trek Continues script that I worked on. Now I didn't have to write the song. The song was already in there, but working around the song, it's like, But at least that one was just a guy performing. I am like the fact where people just break into song for no apparent reason always just throws me. I can't. I just can't do it.
I have been driving for Uber for 6 years. I've worked in printing for 27 years. I taught school for 7. I've been exposed to thousands of kids and adults and customers and vendors, and I can honestly say since I've never heard anyone just break out into a song. And so
I can't say that. I do have one friend who
I can't say that either.
Who does break out into song for now. He's not making up songs. It's he picks songs that already exist. But yeah, he does kind of do that. Just it was annoying for a while. You get used to it after a while, but it's
I had a coworker that would do that. Actually, I was probably mean because he stuttered. He was a great guy, but he had that stutter. But whenever he went on the PA, he spoke flawlessly. And Roger, being the dick in a staff meeting, we were trying to come up with ways to save time and conserve money. I says, hey, why don't we have Randy sing all of his dialogue? Oh my God, the dirty looks I got from everyone. And I'm like, what? He doesn't stutter. I know it's mean. I'm a bastard, but I was like, hey, it'll save us time. We're saving money. But anyway, Ross says, and Ross, my vision was blurry, so I didn't see the B in there, but I'll grant you, you are an old bass player, which is really cool. And also, my daughters did regularly in Yellowstone last week.
I'm assuming breaking song.
Yeah, right. No, that is cool. Ladies and gentlemen, quick moment. We're having a wonderful time here. It's Monday Night in America. Bobby Nash, Randy Landers, Michael Day, and Lucky Me, Royer Noriega.
Yep.
It's all good. Having a wonderful conversation.
And Randy's bailing I think I dozed off.
Mhm. Yeah,
All right,
I'm
I hear
probably
you.
getting close. It's almost midnight here, but it's
But
Yeah,
I'd like to
we
thank.
are.
I would like to thank you, Roger, for having me on, and thank Michael for popping back in to check on us, and thank Bobby for writing several scripts for us, and needs to continue to write more.
We will talk sometime in the very near future about Klingons. How about that?
Yes,
So,
and not
Wow.
breaking into song, Ross.
not breaking. Yes. Although, there are many Klingon episodes where they do sing, but no. Not
No.
mine.
Oh,
That is
you could do that.
I could, but I'm not gonna. That would have to be somebody else. I don't have my musical ability peaks with playing the radio. Really, that's about where my musical skill. I wish I could sing. I can't. I wish I could play an instrument. I can't.
Well-
I never really want to sing in front of people unless I've had plenty of alcoholic refreshment.
And that's fair. Ladies and gentlemen, Potemkin Pictures. You see it right there in the Chiron down there at the bottom. The little thing that goes across the screen. That's one of them. Of course, you also know Bobby Nash right there. Twitter, Instagram. Oh, yeah, we lost him. I didn't kick him out.
He was going to nap.
Yeah, he's tired. Klingon opera. Damn, he didn't see that. That's funny. Maylor and Pelota, I think it was. Right? Hey, that's a little hard.
And there are like Deep Space Nine episodes where they do the Klingon version of a sea shanty,
Yes.
He's
And-
back.
Oh, yeah,
he's back.
Randy,
All right.
you missed it. Ross said just as you winked out, Klingon opera.
Well, it still says that. That's why I was told when Ross said, well, when Bobby said that, oh yeah, we could do a Klingon one. I'm like, yeah, you could.
Every time they start to break into song, the camera will just pan.
No. Every time they start to break into song, let me sing the song of, and they get stabbed in the back by Billy's character.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be really good.
See, I'm kind of
because he could say, "I said no singing."
Yeah, it's because in my head here, because this is how the ideas come to me. They just pop in there as you start thinking about them while you're not actively thinking about them. And in my head here, I've got this, man, like a spy versus spy, a Klingon and a Romulan, like Mission Impossible.
Right.
Ugh, I don't know. We'll definitely have to talk. I would dig writing something with some Klingons. So that'd be fun.
No one expects the Klingon Inquisition. That's funny. Well, it is. Wow. That's absolutely awesome. Ross, thank you for accepting my invite. I was kind of hoping you would join us on air, but hopefully you will in the future. And even Mr. Parker and hopefully Victoria Avalon will be joining us in the future as well. Randy, as always, man, you're at 107 episodes. I knew you were up there. I didn't think it was that much.
Got over 1 million views now.
Hell yeah.
And we're
I'm
just
sorry.
getting started.
Show enough.
I mean, just gotta get it done.
Yeah. Thank you for what you do, Randy. It's just
no, thank you.
Awesome.
I couldn't do what you do. I mean, I told Bob.
Yeah, you could.
I told Michael, how does he do that? And Michael says, well, he just does it. And I'm like, okay, impressive. So I'm
Thank
impressed.
God our guests are unable to see underneath the boxes here where you can see us in small screen. I go through a 1 minute as our music. I calm myself, whatever, and the minute the music stops, it is a different person, huh, Michael? Because there have been times when I'm just dead to the world, man, and I don't want to do it. And that light goes on. Same thing with you, Randy. When that light goes on, you do. And Bobby, same thing for you. When you sit down and that voice, dude, you just do it.
Well, and I think that, we, not that we're pretending to be other people, but there is a bit of a performance to doing interviews and doing conventions and getting out there. You're putting your best foot forward. So even though I'm still playing Bobby, I'm playing nice, happy Bobby, not pissed off Bobby who didn't get his work done today. That But but there's a bit of a performance, and I think we've all done it so long now that we've in part of it's second nature now. Like doing conventions for years, I've realized that when they do these Q&As with the actors sometimes, and they'll ask a question and the actor will answer it in like one sentence and then go off into whatever they were going to talk about anyway.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, to keep this in a Star Trek theme, Shatner is a master of that. Having seen him at cons.
I watched him one time break into I've reached and touched the surly bonds of God. And like he segued from one question and he got into a soulful bridge. And the next thing you know, oh my God, he was a master.
But yeah, just watch it because he's gone in with these. He knows he's going to talk about these things. But that somebody asked a question. There was a question about, with his traveling and doing cons in other countries, what's one of the things that he gives like a little short answer, and then he starts talking about this thing. Oh yeah, for this documentary we're doing, we're talking with this guy who flies planes and all these different. And so it sounds like he's still talking on the same topic, but really he was just going to talk about his documentary anyway.
Yeah.
But
we'll be in the middle. We would be at a convention, and we would be sitting there betting on what segue he was going to come up with, and I'm like, it's got to be the Afghanistani one. It's got to be suddenly he's in the Afghanistani. Yeah, I was in this tent, and they were doing the sword fighting, and the guy came within an inch of my neck, and he looked at me, and suddenly he says, "Captain Kirk." And I'm like, I've heard that one 20 times, and I'm like, it's a great one. But
I've told, like, a lot of the stuff I've said tonight, I've said before. It's like, it's not rehearsed. I mean, it's not like a prepared speech, but the answers are the same. You talk about creating, the answers are the same. I mean, I still create the same way. I think we've all done this just long enough now from doing podcasts and panels and whatnot that we've learned how to, sometimes the problem is getting me to shut up.
Oh no, it's not a problem. It is not. It is a beautiful thing because we hear, and if that came out badly, I apologize. I didn't mean for
just sitting there thinking, "Ooh, he's got the self-destruct button on there."
Well, I used to co-host a podcast, and I do understand that sometimes you get guests that give only one-word answers.
Oh my God!
And it's hard to fill an hour with
or
you
30
ask
minutes.
Question, you get
or 15.
Yep. Nope. So from doing I've learned to have stuff, know what to put out there. And
do you know, Bobby? Okay, I'll tell you. There are nervous people that are going to give you one-word answers because they're nervous, not because they don't want to be there. It's just because they're nervous. We had someone on, and her answers were short, but oh my God, she didn't want to leave. She didn't want to. I mean, she wanted to have a conversation with us, but it was a bit tough at first, and then we just segued to a conversation.
Exactly. Yeah,
and it was a lot easier. That's what we do, Bobby. We have a conversation.
A lot of people, because there are different types of shows. I do some where everything is question answer.
Yeah, we don't do that.
and there's nothing wrong with that, but I do prefer the conversational because someone will say something that takes us on that left turn, like our old our aches and pains talk earlier.
That was funny. I know you missed that, Michael.
None of us plan to talk about aches and pains, but here we call those hard lefts. We take left turns. Yeah. One of us will be talking and somebody will say something that's just completely off topic. Well, that was a left turn. And it just, but we can, I've learned to segue well.
Yeah, but I do look forward to this, and it's always a thrill. And like I said, Michael, you did miss a master class of these two gentlemen discussing story stuff.
But thankfully, it's on YouTube for replay.
Well, that's
It
what I
is.
was going to
And
say.
on Twitter,
Who's going to put it on YouTube for replay? Well, that would be Michael.
Yeah.
It's on there already.
Well, I was gonna say it's on there right now. I did a
yeah,
live streaming
we're
there.
live.
So,
Yeah. And that's
Yeah.
another thing. It's
And
live.
we're live on Twitter tonight for their first.
Yes,
live on
the
Twitter.
first time ever. We
Oh,
are live
really?
on Twitter,
Yeah.
twitter.com/NDB Media. And I said, if anyone I would feel confident on going forward with, that was Bobby. I lucked into
Ooh.
that one.
Get Elon on. I want to talk to Elon.
It's like, yeah, we've got ideas.
I
I'll
want
lose my
to put
audience.
I want to put the 3 laws of robotics into every AI right now. Boom, done.
Well, has he put them in the ones he's got now?
I don't know. You drive his
know,
car,
I know
Michael.
it's
You
not,
tell
I
me.
know it's not in my car.
Yeah.
I know that.
I saw a meme the other day that said, and it had a picture of like the robot from Lost in Space, and Will Mummy was next to it as a kid, and it says, when I was a kid, I looked forward to the day that I interacted with robots, and after my third robocall of the day, I don't. The future did not turn out how I wanted it to be. I thought interacting with robots was going to be much cooler. So, yeah.
I like that. That is cool. Well, I was going to try to get you guys out, but we are now in the next day for all 3 of you.
Yes.
There is a temporal
Good morning
causality here or something, a temporal rift. I'm yesterday for you boys.
So now
and
you can
are
say this
tomorrow for
episode
me.
has lasted 2 days.
Oh,
Sure
God.
oh, God. Yes.
Speaking of which, time to go. Good night,
Yeah.
gentlemen. Thank you so much.
Randy. Thank you, Randy. It's a pleasure. Can't wait to see what else comes out. All right,
Yep.
Randy.
Watch
Godspeed,
for
buddy.
Bobby's
See ya.
episode soon. We'll see y'all later. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye
Sounds
bye.
good.
Yeah, I'm probably going to do something
Yeah.
similar too. I need
Yeah.
a little food.
Food is
Young man, I think I'm in the same boat as you. And then I don't have to get up early. So, because I
Well-
had my doctor's appointment early today at 7.
I work
Ugh.
from home. I don't get up early unless I have to. Oddly enough, most of the time when I get up early, it's usually a convention.
Yeah.
Or my dad has a
I'm
doctor's
starting to get
appointment.
that feeling.
Yeah, it's one of
I'm
those, yeah.
starting. So,
But
I'm not
No,
complaining.
I'm very much a night owl. I work in the afternoons and I take a little time, and then I work in the evenings. But I have to wind down after working. I can't stop work and go to bed because I won't sleep. My brain will just keep running. So usually,
I'm sorry, Bobby.
no, but I don't usually go to bed till around 3 a.m. my time. So it's
Oh,
but
yeah, I could be waking up at 3 sometimes.
yeah. So but I do that like TV. It becomes that little cool down and usually it's stuff I've seen before. So that's when I replay old episodes of something, and I kind of wind down because it's a familiar thing, and that helps me sleep a little. Because if I don't, my brain won't switch off what I was working on, and those characters will just keep yammering in my ear all night. And as cool as that is,
Yeah.
so.
No.
But yes, but no, this has been fun. I have had a blast. Thank you. We're in space. Is that the Ark?
That's the Ark. Yeah.
Yes. Michael has got me on board to
It's
watch
on
it.
your
I haven't
list,
watched
isn't
it
it?
yet, but
It's
I
on
am
your
on
list.
board to watch it. I am a big fan of Dean Devlin's other stuff.
Oh, good guy.
Yeah, so I was very excited when you guys had him on because Leverage is one of my favorite things ever. And I love the Librarians, and I love Almost Paradise, and I love Stargate. Leverage is one of my favorite things ever. So when it was coming back, when I heard it was coming back, that was exciting. And a couple weeks ago, they announced they're doing new Librarians.
Yeah.
So that's and so that's really good. And a lot of those characters that are actors that bounce between those shows, it's really cool. So that was a good get for you guys. I enjoy that.
Thank you. Yes, Michael got down. He'd been on with us once before, and there was a great story on why he was on, and he went over as well.
Mhm.
He was part of a twofer. I'm not going to slam the other actor, but we got hung out to dry, and he could hear as the evening was progressing. He's like, "Oh, these guys are being stood up for the second hour." He stayed with us for almost 2 hours.
He seems like I've never met him. I've spoke to him online social media a time or two. I've never met him, but I'm a big fan of what they do. I think he and the team that he works with have created some wonderful TV shows.
Yeah.
I tend to love I tend to like their TV shows a little more than I like their movies, because I think they gives them time to grow and grow those characters. And that's what, like with Leverage, it was like, oh my God, I miss these characters, and then seeing them come back together and do what they do. And so so that was exciting. I was very happy for you guys, because I love. And so, but yeah, Michael's got me convinced. The Ark is on my to watch list. I just haven't got there yet.
And yeah, you're busy though. It's all
Yeah.
good. You'll get around to it. It
But I'm
happens.
a big
Just keep
sci-fi.
an open.
Yeah.
Yeah, just keep an
Well,
open, because it was frustrating for some people because the way it looks, you might be expecting a little bit of Star Trek. No.
Yeah. So, but
No.
I'm a big sci-fi fan. I love sci-fi, so I'm
And
excited
this
to
is
check
the
it out.
Sci-Fi
And
Channel's only sci-fi program at the
Yeah.
moment, which is
yeah,
hilarious.
that surprised me too when I saw where it was playing. But yeah, but good stuff there. I am currently, like I said, I watch old stuff I've seen before, sometimes before I go to bed. So right now I'm doing a Leverage Redemption rewatch, and because I've seen those, so it's kind of a familiar, and I love the heist kind of crime fighter storylines they do. So fun stuff.
Oh, wow.
I can't write a heist well to save my life, but I enjoy the hell out of them. So,
well, folks, check out his material, BobbyNash.com. It's right there on the ticker, the Chiron, whatever you want to call it, the little thingy that goes on the bottom of the screen. Look, it's right there, right over there. Oh, here it comes again.
Yep.
Bobby Nash at Twitter and Bobby Nash Writes on Instagram. And I believe he has a few others, but you can find him at BobbyNash.com.
And please sign up for the free monthly newsletter. You'll get a free one of my books for free. The first snow book for free. An ebook for free. But yeah, sign up. I put out news of where I'll be, links to interviews like this one will be in there, and things like that. News where I'll be, what's coming, what's out. I try to do it once a month, unless there's some major news in the middle of the month. It's just once a month. And I'm also on Patreon. If anybody has a few shekels they want to throw my way, it's patreon.com/Bobby Nash, and I do a lot of the writing stuff. Like we talked here, I talk a lot about writing. I also do serialized novels on Patreon, and they are they get a chapter a week, so they get them before anybody else. So, and yes, it's on my list, so I will be getting to that soon.
We are eternally grateful on a personal level because of the Ark, the fan groups, and Michael being able to start off with Ryan Adams, which was an incredible blast, and everyone else that's followed. We're starting to see across all of our platforms, Bobby, we're really seeing some numbers now. And it's like, this is crazy. It's when those numbers start to happen. And we've always known it's frustrating. The live numbers are low, but people watch after, and it just drives us insane. And we do everything. So we're begging the guests now, please advertise it. Please advertise. And when they do, oh my God, the chat room is going.
It makes a difference. Yeah.
Yeah, because I try to pre-promote, and then right before it.
And I appreciate it, Bobby.
After,
you have, yes.
And tomorrow I'll post if you missed it live, and
I'm looking forward to seeing it on Twitter. See how it's
I saw your post about it, so I retweeted that too. So I'm hoping.
Oh, thank you.
I'm hoping some folks checked it out. I mean, I haven't been looking at them while we've been talking, but
right. And I see on my control panel the Twitter feed, but I don't have a report on viewers from Twitter. I only see Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube right now. I don't know. So I don't know how many people watch. We'll have to see later. But
because
was our
I'll
first Twitter one.
Yeah, because I'll post something tomorrow, and then, like I said, it'll go on my website, and then it goes in the newsletter. So when the next newsletter goes out in July, there'll be links there. Say, here's who I talked to last month. And
I
yeah,
just
so-
signed up for the newsletter. I can't believe I hadn't done that either. Hey, Michael, like a bonehead, I told Bobby, oh, shit, I hadn't followed Bobby.
it's
What?
quite all right. It happens. I mean, you know.
But after all these years, it was funny.
Yeah.
Oh.
And then it's like he followed me almost instantly right back, and I was like, oh yeah, elegant proof I hadn't followed him.
Well, yeah. Well, I was thinking, I saw it, and I was like, wait, don't we already follow each other?
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Ugh, that was
so,
embarrassing.
you know,
It's the
there's
way-
a lot. Social media is a lot to keep up with, and just what we do. I mean, this is a. I tell people, I said, you know, I talked earlier about, you know, you got to treat it like a job. I mean, technically, we each run small businesses. You know, what we do is because there's so much more to it. Like, we've been on here for 3 hours and 9 minutes. This episode takes more than 3 hours and 9 minutes. There's all the work you do before. There's all the work you're going to do after, and you know, the other stuff's the same way. You know, it's like there's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happens.
There is, Bobby, but I will tell you this, and I thank you. I appreciate what you're sharing, knowing that you've done that. Let me tell you, my brother, with you, it's different though. It genuinely is.
Okay.
You come to play, and it's easier for us to have you as a guest
Oh, thank you.
because well,
I
F
figure,
yeah,
I
forgive
figure,
me.
I figure it's part of, you know, I look at, you know, I enjoy doing stuff like this. Like, I wouldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it, because I wouldn't spend 3 hours, you know, if I wouldn't enjoy it. But
Yeah.
I do enjoy doing this stuff. But I also, from the business side of things, this is part of my promotional outreach. Even if I'm not actively going, hey, you know, you know, I'm not actively selling stuff, but I'm still talking, and we're talking about stuff, and hopefully people go, ooh, I should check that out. You know, people who watch your show that have never heard of me,
Yeah.
and go, oh, let me check his site out or whatever. So it's that kind of thing. So doing a lot of, I enjoy doing stuff like that, going to conventions or doing virtual panels or things like this, or podcasts, or Q&As. I get Q&As where you type the answers and they post them to websites, or I visit libraries and schools, and I get to do talks, and you know, and not all of that is monetary things. Like, you do a lot of things like that. I'm not making money doing it, but it's building the outreach, because we're not just selling. I'm not selling my books. You're not just selling your podcast. You're kind of selling yourself, you know.
Yeah.
Bobby is the brand, and hopefully, because I have had people come up to me and go, you know, I see you at all these conventions, and you seem like a nice guy. Like, let me buy something, you know, let me buy a book. I want to try a book because you seem nice, you know. And so that's always nice to hear, or nice that, you know, if you go to a convention and you walk up to, it's really weird when people who are like well known know who you are. I still find that very odd, but it's, you know, but it tells me that my efforts to get the word out helps. And yeah, so it's fun. I love that. And like I said, as you guys know, I love to talk. You know, we were going to wrap this up 15 minutes ago, and I'm still running.
Yeah,
But
it's good. Hey, by the way, on a private thing, I flinched right now because obviously I got an email, right? And Bobby, you also know what I do. You know, I do
Mhm.
taxes and stuff, right? Well, out of nowhere, just got a payment. I love it.
nice.
I love it. I love it. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
can't wipe the smile off my face. So I was
Yeah.
like, ooh, that one's nice. That was a big job, and I'm
Nice.
glad. Ooh,
Yeah, it
sorry.
is. Yeah.
That feels good.
It's the little things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I get paid for something, and it's like, ooh, especially like when I went to a convention on Friday, and I had turned in a short story to a publisher on Wednesday. And on Thursday, they sent me money, and I'm like, I have money to spend at the convention.
Woo!
You know, it's awesome. So
Oh, hey, you know,
yeah,
look, Bobby, I'm gonna go back and see how many episodes you've been on with us, but I think it is
yeah.
6.
I want to say 6, but
Yes. And
But
Elizabeth says, I just can't understand how on earth I missed all the programs you have. This may be directed to me then. You talk about everything I'm nuts about. I felt kind of foolish. Glad I finally found you all. I found my people.
well,
Yes,
you
and I
know,
appreciate
but
that.
there's a lot of stuff out there. I
There
mean,
is.
there is a lot of programming out in the internet space. So yeah, I'm all the time discovering podcasts or video blogs or things like our YouTube channels that I'd never heard of, and I go, "This is cool." But then it's like this treasure trove. I can binge all this really cool stuff, you know.
Yeah. And
And
I do like watching other people. And Bobby, there's only one person. Actually, no, there's two people. There's only two people that I have overtly slammed on air. And you already heard of one of them.
Mhm.
Okay, you already know of that one. That in the Star Trek fan community.
Yes, I put two and two together there with my
Yeah.
detective skills. Yes,
Yes,
You got
and
5.
that one was easy
he
because
didn't
it just
say the
is.
name out officially, Michael. So we're good.
Oh no, I was listening.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But anyone who knows. And it's just it's a shame. It's messed it up for a
Yeah.
lot of other people. Made it a lot more difficult because of such. But
Mhm.
that's neither here nor there. It's like, hey, you keep saying deliver. What I told this guy one time. Oh, are you a baseball fan, Bobby?
Mm,
Okay.
I
John
don't follow
Rocker
it
with the Atlanta
religiously, but
Braves.
yeah.
That big lefty, he was with them in the 90s and 2000s,
Mm.
fireballing. He's the one that made fun of the people that are on the subway in New York. He used the pejoratives and stuff, and everyone slammed him, called him racist, whatever. Well, he got traded from this team to this, from the Braves to the Indians to the Rangers. On April 16th, 2002, the day after tax season, I go to a baseball game, and I'm at Anaheim versus the Rangers. And I'm in the family section right behind the bullpen. And John Rocker comes in the fourth inning. And it's like, oh, wow, he's in the bullpen. And the fans start mouthing off. And within an inning, he's answering back. And I said, oh, this is not going to go well for him.
Mm-mm.
You ignore the fans.
Yeah.
And everyone ripped them.
As a writer, you never respond to reviews.
Very good. Yes. And you know what? There was a moment that someone said, "You're on my rotisserie team, but you gave up 8 runs, so I dropped you." And the other guy turned around and said, "Oh yeah, that's this Rocker yelling up into the center. Oh yeah, I struck out 4 guys." And then I yelled back, "But you gave up 8 runs." I mean, there's no good. And then someone mouthed off, and he looked at me and he says, "Oh yeah, that's very effing funny." All the fans died laughing. They're like, "Hey, this is the family section.
Mm-hmm.
They're gonna kick you out." And he said, "Oh yeah, come on, come up with something new." And I stood up and I says, "All right, how about you throw strikes, win ball games, and shut the." And he mouthed off back at me, and some guy thought he was talking to him, and he was like twice my size. I'm like, I hid behind him, and I got under his skin because when he was warming up, the lefties have to look up into the fans, and it sucks. And you're like 5 feet away from the fans, man. So he's warming up. I said, this guy got traded from 3 winning organizations. He's now with the Texas Rangers. What does that tell you?
Mm.
And you could see he was gripping the ball, and you could hear the leathers. He was mad, but it wasn't just me. It was everyone else ripping him, and he let everyone get under his skin.
Yeah, you have to be careful. You have to.
Yeah.
It hurts when people say things, but you have to learn to ignore it, grin and bear it, bite your tongue. You know, I've been fortunate. I have not had a lot of that.
Yeah.
I've had a few people that just like, oh, this is awful. But you know, the good outweighs the bad. But
Yes.
not everything is to everybody's taste, and I get that. So I try not to take it personal, but it's not always easy. I would love to do Fan X.
All right.
I don't.
And we have someone in our community who's into the convention circuit, and I'm gonna throw your name at her and
Yeah.
see. I know
Yeah,
she does stuff around like at Dragon Con, Comic
Yeah.
Con, and stuff. And who
Yeah, I
knows?
do. For the last several years, I mostly just kind of stay in the South, just because of my dad, and it's hard to get a because he doesn't. My dad doesn't go to conventions with me, and it's hard for me to go away for 4 and 5 days, and
Yeah.
because he has that, it doesn't do anything for him.
Yeah.
he's gone to some one-day things with me, but he's bored to tears,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
speaking
I
of
know.
which, I think I'm going to go grab me some food.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same
And-
thing. Bobby, let's make it official. We're done.
Yeah.
Bobby, I learned a great deal from you.
Thank you.
I loved talking about the story, the structure, and the characters. Every time it's different with you, Bobby, and I'm eternally grateful, and I can't wait to have another opportunity to speak to you again.
Well, I'll tell you what,
Keep it
we'll
up.
talk when that Star Trek book comes out. I'll talk, and maybe me and the publisher can come on, or I'd love to come back on with Randy and talk. We can talk Webster, and so yeah, just let me know. We'll make it happen.
Sounds great. I know you're always when. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's absolutely awesome. Folks, BobbyNash.com. Check it out. I just signed up for the newsletter because a bonehead, I hadn't done that either, and I can't believe it. So I don't know. Michael will probably say, "Oh, it's because it's not Mercedes de la Cruz." There's a joke in there. I'll have to tell you about that off
Did you
air.
put up her link that you told me to get? Did you ever do that?
He put it up earlier. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I did.
Okay,
Thank
good.
you, Michael. Yeah, I did. So I thank you. So beyond that, this is great. Folks, check him out. He does a lot of different series, the creativity. We've talked about what he's done in the past. You should check out some of the episodes. This man, he's a renaissance man. The stuff he's been able to do.
That's the nicest thing anybody's ever called me.
Well, I thought it was loquaciously correct.
Yes.
And I butchered it right there. I used it correctly earlier.
Yeah, I know.
I butchered it right now.
But nice
I meant it.
talk, though. That was awesome. Yes.
Sometimes it works. All right. There it is. And we'll see about talking about some of your characters, Mr. Snow, next time around, because
Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
been reading as well. So
Nice.
I wanted to get to that, but it was the way the program went. It was beautiful.
Yes. No, I believe me. My to be read pile is, I will never finish it in my lifetime, and I keep buying new books.
I know. I see those posts, man. It's beautiful. Your finds of the day.
Well, one of the beauties of my dad and I doing all these road trips is we find all these cool little used bookstores, and yeah, so
We don't get many of those other
I'm-
than secondhand stores here.
yeah, I'm going to a big used book event this weekend, so
Ooh.
I will probably have a nice post on
Yeah.
from that. So
Look forward to seeing that.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Ladies
right.
and gentlemen, it is. Poor guy. He needs to eat. I do too. And so does Michael. But they're eating tomorrow. And for them, I'm eating yesterday. So I like that. All
Yes,
right. So we
so
had our own temporal
good-
incursion here.
Good night from the future.
All right. And good night from yesterday
Yes.
or the now. We'll see you guys. Peace always. And we are out.